On the agenda is a couple of things. First of all, that everybody's here, and then second of all, I'll turn the time over to Vice Chair Heyer to say the Pledge of Allegiance.
Yes, if you'd all stand and join me in the pledge. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you.
Thank you. Please take a moment of silence with me. Thank you. Next on our agenda is acknowledgements. Any acknowledgements from the council members?
Yes, Chair. I would like to share with everybody, and I moved my membership for my physical health from EOS Fitness to the Marshall White Center on the 1st of November, and I can't say better things about the Marshall White. It is clean and bright and professionally run, and the machinery that's there for if you care to lift weights or run a track is just outstanding. I really would encourage anybody that hasn't yet been to the Marshall White Center, stop in, take a tour, consider joining. It's really an outstanding facility in our city.
Thanks, Dave. Any others?
I just wanted to really tell the mayor and staff how much I appreciate it. I visited the Mayor's Awards in the Arts as a guest, this time as a +1, instead of in my normal hat like I used to all the time for the art department at Weber State. And it was just a really wonderful event, and I loved your video and the way that you met with each artist to understand their work. It was just so cool. And it was also just a banner Weber State night. Everybody that got an award was connected to Weber State in some way. So it was really cool, and thank you all so much.
Madam Chair, this morning I had the privilege of attending an inspiring ceremony. My role was as a professional funeral director in directing and honoring the life of a local resident of Weber County who worked for Salt Lake Fire Department at the Davis Conference Center. There were 400 firefighters from Salt Lake City, Salt Lake County, and many, many from northern Utah, including Ogden City, who were present at that service. And most inspiring to me is the respect, honor, and dignity that was shown by these brave firefighters and our police, local police officials, for the life of someone who often put his life on the line, but unfortunately died of cancer. His name is Cade Martin, a father of 3, 37 years old, resident here of Weber County. And again, I just cannot express the emotion that I felt as they concluded the services and rang the firefighter's bell, which represented Cade's last call to duty. And it was very touching, it was very solemn, but also very inspiring. The thing that most touched my heart was the gathering of respect and honor of our fellow firefighters who all contributed together to be there, to be a part of things, and showing respect for one of their own. Cade was active duty. He didn't fall in a line of duty, but he was certainly honored and respected by many, many people, including many of Ogden City Fire Department's leadership, including Kenny Miller and Matthew Hess, Chief Matthew Hess, Captain Willie, who was the captain of our honor guard for Ogden City Fire Department, and Bo Hoskin, and many others. I just can't name all of them, but the one overriding theme from our firefighters who I had the privilege of visiting with, even though Cade was a member of Salt Lake City Fire Department, they said, we just want to show that we're here for them. We want to be present to show that we value life and that we honor one of our firefighter comrades. So that was so beautiful and inspiring for me. I just wanted to share that today. One other very inspiring moment was as we formed the funeral cortege, leaving from Davis County Conference Center, going down to I-15. There are probably about 8 or 10 different engines, as the firefighters will call them. I don't see any firefighters here today. We call them in lay people fire engines and ladder trucks and others that were in that funeral cortege. As we approached the bridge on 36th Street, there were 3 engines and a ladder truck stationed right there with probably about 30 of our local Ogden City firefighters who stood at attention as the motorcade passed underneath the bridge. I just thought it was so beautiful. I wanted to share that with you as in recognition of public safety and how they value life and celebrate life of one of their own and gather together to recognize the impact and the value and the sanctity of life and of a life well lived. So it touched my soul today. I wanted to share that with all of you and just express a special shout out to Ogden City Fire Department for their participation in today's ceremony. Thank you.
Thanks, Councilmember. Any others? All right. Next on the agenda is the 2025 municipal general election. Tracy Hansen.
Good evening, Council and Mayor. Tonight, I'm here to present the results from the 2025 general election. The Board of Canvassers consists of the municipal legislative body, the City Council, and the Mayor. They're charged with declaring the candidate with the highest number of votes as elected and certifying the vote totals for each candidate. State code indicates the City Recorder shall prepare a report that includes the total number of votes cast, the name of each candidate, the offices that appear on the ballot, the number of votes for each candidate from the voting precincts, and the number of ballots that were rejected, and a statement certifying that the information in the report is accurate. And we'll get on with the results. Let's see. Let's hit the clicker. I'm too dumb for this. Let's see. Hitting. This is the hardest part, is working the machinery. The summary of votes is we have 33,000 active voters in Ogden and 41 precincts. Ballots counted citywide were 11,502 for a turnout of 34.55%. Over the last few years, this is just the turnout. For some reason in 2021, we don't have a specific event or anything, but it was a lot lower. The years with the asterisk are mayoral elections. They tend to be a little bit higher, but in general, our average is about 35% turnout. So in Municipal District 1, Flor Lopez is elected with 60.12% of the vote. In Municipal District 3, Kenneth R. Ritchie is elected with 52.15% of the vote. At large seat A, Alicia Washington is elected with 56.63% of the vote. And at large seat B, Kevin Lundell is elected with 60.24% of the vote. The summary of ballots, we had 34,000 ballots sent. You might say if we only have 33,000 active voters, why did we send 34,000 ballots? That accounts for people who might have walked in, who didn't automatically get sent a ballot. It could be replacements. Some people lose their ballot or it gets damaged and they want a replacement. So that's why that number would be different. Again, 11,502 votes with 1,158 ballots undeliverable by the U.S. Postal Service. If they come back with an address on them, the county updates that, reaches out to the voter to see if they're still in this area and get them the correct ballot. Provisional ballots, there were 50 provisional ballots cast. 44 were counted, 6 were not. 4 of those had insufficient ID, and 2, they didn't complete the forms necessary. Some of the reasons the ballots weren't counted, but they were returned past the deadline. This year, the deadline was by 8 p.m. The postmark did not count. They had to be in the hands of the county by 8 p.m. on election night. Signatures may not have matched, that's 5. Returned unsigned, there were 14. 1 empty envelope. 4 were signed by somebody other than the voter, and 4 were returned with no envelope. Each person, when those ballots come in, they're contacted either through email, phone number, or mail, depending on if they've given email or text messaging, if they've marked those options, and then they're given instructions on how they can correct the deficiency. So if they forgot to sign something or didn't complete something, they're given a letter that tells them what they need to do. We found that the correction rate is very low. People don't correct their ballots once they're contacted. I thought it was interesting to note that 556 people voted in person out of 44,000 countywide. So people are using the vote by mail opportunity. In 2026, voters will be required to include the last 4 digits of their Social Security number or their driver's license number on their ballot envelopes. That was included this year by the county just to prepare people, but that will be required next year. And then the most unique reason for requesting a replacement ballot was their ballots were run over by their lawnmower. So we thought that was that was the best one we had heard. So I'm happy to answer any questions if you have any. If not, I would request that you certify the results of the election.
Any questions for Tracy? Do they go through an audit process at all?
There's multiple audits. They have a count before the election where they create ballots where they know the outcome and know the count. They run them through the machines, make sure those things match, make sure those totals match. Afterwards, the state selects, after the election, the state selects ballots, a section, and then they're audited to make sure they were recorded correctly. So there's multiple audits.
Any other questions? All right. Are there any of the candidates-elects here other than Councilman Ritchie? All right. Well, congrats to those that won.
If the returns are certified, I do need your signatures all this evening before you leave. Because we have to turn it into the Lieutenant Governor's office. So.
All right. This is... we need a motion and a...
Chair, I would make the motion then that we certify the election of November 4th, 2025.
Second.
We have a motion by Councilmember Ritchie, second by Councilmember Vice Chair. Which one of you? I couldn't be. Vice Chair.
Well, it was me.
Okay. Vice Chair Heyer. This is a voice vote. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? All right. That passes, and we have to sign this, whatever this is.
You've got the one we're signing?
I've got the one that I've got, the one that has sign here.
Yeah.
Don't miss that one.
Okay.
All right. Thanks, Tracy.
Motion to adjourn?
Thanks.
Second.
We have a motion by Vice Chair Heyer, second by Councilmember, Councilmember Blair. This is a voice vote. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? All right, that passes. All right, going on to the next meeting. You got it? Great. All right. Thanks, Leanne. Good evening and welcome to our 6 p.m. City Council meeting of November 18th, 2025. Please note that all council members are present. We have a few items to go over tonight, but the first one is probably the funnest. Most fun. Funnest, most funnest. We have the honorary mayor of Christmas Village, and we've asked Councilmember Chaburka to read that recognition.
And I'm pleased to do so. So this is declaring November 29th, 2025 as Carolyn Brierly Day in Ogden City. Whereas Carolyn Brierly was born in Salt Lake City and raised in Murray, where she graduated from high school, she's turned down a college scholarship to help her recently divorced mother care for 9 siblings, a reflection of her lifelong commitment to family. She and her husband, Steve, share a blended family with 3 children, 13 grandchildren, and 11 great-grandchildren. Though they live in Layton, they proudly consider Ogden their home through their support, volunteer service, and community involvement. And we won't hold it against you. And whereas Carolyn began her career at R.W. Taylor Steel Company before joining Western Zirconium, where she worked in quality assurance and chaired the Employee Activity and Corporate Sports Challenge Committees. In 1998, she became Ogden City's Special Event Coordinator, overseeing numerous festivals, concerts, and events, including the Holiday Electric Light Parade for 3 years, Christmas Village until retiring in 2013. She then served as Executive Director of the historic 25th Street Business Association until 2015. And whereas Carolyn's dedication has been recognized with numerous honors, including the Ogden Weber Chamber Community Service Award in 2003, and induction into the Ogden Marathon Hall of Fame in 2015. She has also served on many boards and committees, including the Goal Foundation Executive Board, the Ogden Weber Chamber Women in Business, and the Eccles Arts Center's 125th Anniversary Committee. And whereas Carolyn has been involved with Christmas Village since 2001, amazing, she has played a vital role in its success, including overseeing the Holiday Electric Light Parade and helping design the Nutcracker Nook Cottage, which she continues to decorate each year. She cherishes the memories of honoring Jeremy Green and his family during the 40th anniversary of the village, celebrating Make-A-Wish children, and witnessing families return year after year to share in the magic. And whereas we are grateful for the opportunity to highlight Carolyn's many contributions, her legacy of service, and her deep love for Ogden. Her dedication and leadership stand as lasting examples of community spirit and service. Now, therefore, it be resolved that Ogden City Council and Mayor Benjamin K. Nadolski hereby proclaim November 29, 2025 as Carolyn Brierly Day in Ogden City, and declare her the honorary mayor of Christmas Village for 2025. We express our sincere gratitude for your contributions to our community and encourage everyone to join us in honoring Carolyn by visiting and enjoying the Ogden Christmas Village. This is going to be passed today, the 18th day of November, 2025.
Just a limbo?
No.
Congratulations to you. I'm too short. Thank you so much for all of your service.
Somebody else come up and let's do it by yourself first. Everybody get in. She's ready.
She's totally ready. Based on that, she was born ready.
No worries. All right, look in here. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. Great, on it. I'm on it. Any other? Here we are.
Let's get the committee.
Now the committee, your family, or
Everybody with
anybody
green
else.
sweatshirt.
Anybody else?
Love to get the whole community.
This is the Christmas meeting that's going to support her. Congratulations, Carolyn.
Thank you again.
How are you? True.
There is a lot of uses.
Yeah.
Very happy.
She's amazing.
Okay, you guys got to slide sideways, kind of.
This way.
A little bit closer. There you go. Okay, look in here, please. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3, and one more. 2, 3. If you want to step in. Good. You want to take a picture? I mean,
Carolyn, do you have any words of wisdom for us?
I don't know about words of wisdom.
I'm sure you have them.
So I am so grateful to the Christmas Village Committee, first of all, for selecting me for this honor that I was so shocked when I got the call. And and thank you to the council and the mayor and Ogden City. Excuse me. I don't think people understand how hard the committee works. Like, it is not just the month of December. You know, it is year round. And I know from past experiences that they have a very, very big job to do. I feel like decorating a cottage is a pretty big job, but their job is much more enormous. I love Christmas. I love Christmas Village. I keep posting for everybody to please vote for Christmas Village through USA Today. Oh, yeah. You know, let's be number one. Let's everybody vote every day, and let's just get the recognition that Ogden deserves. And I hope I see all of you on Saturday after Thanksgiving at the amphitheater and in the parade. You'll all be there, right?
Oh, yeah.
Okay. But thank you again. And thank you to the community of Ogden.
Thanks.
Thanks, Carol.
We should probably send out that, how to vote.
Yeah, we should.
Yeah.
Yeah, that link.
That link. All right, next on our agenda is the approval of minutes. We have the work session of October 7th, 2025. Councilmember Myers.
Madam Chair, my review of the minutes of October 7, 2025, I find them to be correct.
All right, thank you. And the regular meeting of October 7th, 2025, Councilmember Chaburka.
Yes, Chair, I found those minutes to be accurate to my recollection.
And the joint work session of October 14th, 2025, Councilmember Ritchie.
Yes, Chair, I reviewed the minutes, found them to be accurate, and make a motion that we approve the minutes.
Second.
We have a motion by Councilmember Ritchie, second by Councilmember Myers. This is to approve the minutes. This is a voice vote. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? All right, that passes. Our next item is consent items. There are two. We have the Citizen Advisory Committee and the Citizen Advisory Committee Ordinance Amendment.
Madam Chair, I'd like to make a motion that we approve the consent items, the Citizen Advisory Committee appointments, and the Citizen Advisory Committee Ordinance Amendment.
I'll second.
All right, we have a motion by Councilmember Myers, second by Councilmember Graff to approve these consent items. Are there any discussion before we move on? Vice Chair Heyer, you had thought about making a note about the Citizen Committee Ordinance Amendment?
I did. I don't know that I felt like the Citizen Advisory Committee being part of the presentation is an important thing. I didn't feel like it was necessary that we, tie the hands of that department. I think they recognize the benefit of that too. So I absolutely like the Citizen Advisory Committee input to that. So, and that is required by state law. So hopefully our administration team will just take care of that.
Yep. I think it's federal law. But yep.
Exactly. Yeah. Okay. You're right.
All right. We have a motion by Councilmember Myers, second by Councilmember Graff. This is a roll call vote.
Councilmember Blair.
Aye.
Councilmember Chaburka.
Aye.
Councilmember Graff.
Aye.
Councilmember Myers.
Aye.
Councilmember Ritchie.
Aye.
Vice Chair Heyer.
Aye.
Chair White.
Aye, that passes. All right. Thank you. And thank you for that note.
Yes.
Next on our agenda is reports from the Planning Commission for the proposal of 768 West 24th Street. This presentation will be given by Barton.
Good evening, Chair White and City Councilors. I'll say it's a real privilege to follow Mayor Brierly tonight. So this is a petition for rezone from an R15 zone to a mixed-use zone with the text amendment for properties at 768 West 24th Street. So the current property is zoned R15, which is a single-family zone. It's in the West Ogden community and the Trackline project area. It's about 1.18 acres. Here's the plat of it. Cahoon Street exists on paper, and they had asked to vacate that before, and that was not approved. So they do own properties on both sides of Cahoon Street, so the zone change would encompass both properties on both sides of Cahoon Street on F Avenue. Here's just an aerial photo of the property. You can see it's vacant except for the house at the corner. Here's just kind of the concept plan that they're looking for, and this shows in relation to West Ogden Park. So, you know, it's good when you have a park next to your development, and this one does. This has the concept plan that they're looking at for 16 mixed-use units that would have 500 square feet of commercial on the ground floor and rear-loaded parking. They'd be 2 and 3 stories with the commercial on the ground floor and residential on the above with parking. And just here's the layout of the site plan, the concept site plan. And this is just an idea of what it would look like from other projects where you can see there's ground floor retail and upper floor residential. Here's just another idea of that same sort of massing. Not necessarily the architecture, but the massing that could happen on this property. And another example. So we have recently adopted the Gateway to Ogden, the 24th Street Interchange District Plan. And a few things that did provide is a future land use map that indicated this area would be a mixed center, so it is consistent with the expected use of that property. We're looking at 24th Street as being a mixed-use corridor. Also looking at having this mountain modern theme, and so we propose that be part of the development agreement and future development, that it be the architecture look like a mountain modern design. It is in the Trackline project area, and later on the redevelopment agency will meet to approve the project plan. It's a requirement by code to the redevelopment agency approve the project master plan. And this is just kind of the layout of what it would be with live work units, and then parking, and north of Cahoon Street would be a future phase. This has gone to the Planning Commission, who's recommends approval of the zone change with the mixed-use zone and the development agreement. So staff also recommends approval.
Sorry. Any questions?
Can you talk a little bit, Barton, about landscape requirements on the front? That one slide showed just asphalt right to a curb, to a sidewalk, to a storefront. Is that what is acceptable on there? Oh, I see street trees there.
Yeah,
okay.
There would be landscaping in front there with, street trees and.
Okay, thank you. I missed that when it went by.
Mm.
All right, any other questions? All right. Sorry, is it? I think we're good.
Okay.
No questions. This is an opportunity. We're going to receive input on this particular parcel. If we can, if anybody would like to speak to this, please come up, state your name, and you have 3 minutes to talk.
Linda Sanchez. I know that we are needing to do housing, and I know housing is a big thing. I just want us to be careful where we place it. And downtown is going to be congested. So just be mindful that when we get people in places, we have to get people out of places. And then the fire marshal and all those people will be coming in and they'll be saying, hey, we're going to need some more personnel. So just be mindful of what you are placing where. And I know that you are all wanting the high density around there, and I know that's the goal. But just know that when you say yes to something else, you're going to be having to say something to yes to something else as well. Now, I don't believe this is talking about the corridor plan. I believe that you all received my concerns about that. If you guys will just make sure that you take those into consideration, because, you know, even the mayor, he's concerned about safety as the number one thing we need to make sure, which is true. The job is to keep people safe. We got to make sure that things are okay. And sometimes just planning and saying, oh, this might be a good thing, but tweaking it just a little bit. All right. Thank you.
Thanks, Linda.
My name is David Walling, and on this 24th Street, when I was looking at the pictures that were presented, and I had a few questions on that. One is how active is that railroad that curves to the west of that housing project? Number two is I saw parking, but is there enough parking for not only the businesses below, but for the housing that's above? I didn't really see lots of parking. Maybe it was the picture. I don't know. But anyway, just I have a house that I own down Pleasant Grove, and I have been talking with the mayor, Guy Fugel, which is one of my friends. And this is one of the issues that a lot of Pleasant Grove has had to deal with is, okay, you've got your downstairs businesses, but do you have enough parking for the residents as well? I know that the businesses will close at a certain time in the evening, which will open up parking spaces for residents. But, excuse me, that doesn't mean that those parking spots will be open the next morning for businesses. So that's a concern that they've had to deal with. And I just was wondering if the planning had also addressed that problem as well. The other one that I would like to know is are these going to be above business apartments, condos, or townhouses? Are they going to be owned or are they going to be rented? And that's going to create a situation where you have residencies that stay longer versus transient ones that won't stay as long. So some of those questions hadn't been answered during that small briefing, and I'd just like to hear some of the answers. Thank you.
Great. Thank you. All right. Any other questions? Anybody online? All right.
My name is Michael Limford, and it is a pleasure to meet you all. I will be brief and say that with what Dave Graff was saying about landscaping made me consider that I hope that you keep in mind water conservation as we continue to develop the city and reducing lawns, but increasing trees and trying to stay away from non-porous cementing and asphalt as it causes quick water runoff, avoiding groundwater seepage. And just that we try to maintain our environment and our resources as we build our city. Thank you.
Thank you, Michael. All right. Any other comments around the 24th Street parcel? All right. We probably have some answers for you, but Before we go on, I apologize. I didn't realize the petitioner was here. I think, yes, Luke, right? Yeah, come on up if you have any questions or comments.
No, I don't have any.
Okay, all right.
I can answer questions.
Oh, yeah, I'll see if, let me get Barton back up here, and if not, we'll turn to you. So Barton, there was a few things. I think there's a comment made, I think this is far enough away from the Wall Avenue corridor, which I think Linda was talking about, but it does correlate to what the plan is that we just okayed the other day. So
Yes.
talking about housing density and those kind of things. So
Yes,
if you
and
could just
with-
review that, that'd be great.
Yes, well, we just adopted the 24th Street corridor plan, and part of that is that that 24th Street will become a full interchange with the I-15. That'll provide a lot of opportunities, better access in that area, and one of the plans of that was to take advantage of that by making this a mixed-use corridor. So we are looking at doing, both residential and commercial in that corridor, and this particular project would be both. It's would be ground floor commercial with upper floor residential.
And while you're answering that, there's David had a couple of questions. One, actually three, but what about the types of housing units that are going to go in there?
Yeah, so they're intended to be live-work units. So it's a ground floor retail, about 400 square feet, and upper floor residential that could be rented or they could subdivide them so that each one could be owned.
And do we have a parking requirement for that?
Yeah, they're required 2 parking spaces per live-work unit. So
what about for the commercial piece of that then?
the live-work code doesn't have a requirement in addition to the live-work requirement. So.
And then the railroad does go along there.
It does. I've never seen a train there. I think occasionally it does serve the mills behind there, but it's not a very active line at all.
Does this conflict at all with the 24th Street interchange that we're proposing? Or?
No, we were very careful in reviewing it and actually postponed action so to make sure that we had understood that. And so, no, this is consistent with the plan we just adopted.
Chair, may I ask a quick question follow-up? Because it's related to that. I was wondering, I saw in a report that they're considering changing the way they redesign the 24th Street interchange. Would this be impacted at all by that change, or?
No.
We can't read the future by 20 years, but okay.
No, this is far enough away that it won't be affected. Some areas closer to the interchange will be.
And curious, what about landscape requirements on that parcel, since it's both,
Yeah. So
which one do they go by?
So they are required to do landscaping. It is required to be water-wise landscaping. So in the fronts and in parking lots, you have to have landscaping. There's landscaping codes that they'll need to meet.
So it's a little bit different as far as a live-work kind of situation. So it's not necessarily commercial and residential like you might see maybe downtown, for instance. Is that what you're trying to say?
Right.
I'm just trying to.
Yeah.
David had a really good question. I'm just trying to figure out as far as parking is going.
Yeah. Basically, the tenant in the residential part will control the commercial part. So if somebody wants to run their business in the commercial area, they can do that. If they've got a contractor or a little shop or a beauty shop or something like that they want to do in the commercial unit, they live there and they run it.
And could that ever change in the future?
Things can always change, but it would have to come to you for approval.
Right. Just making sure that we're getting enough parking spaces for that. All right, any other questions? All right. I think we're good.
All right, thanks.
Couple actions.
Do you want to let the petitioner say anything? See,
You want to say
didn't want
anything?
to.
Yeah, I guess. Sure. Sorry, I took you as sitting back down.
You're
as
good.
Not wanting
You're good.
to.
It's good to see you guys again. Luke Kennard. I live in Pleasant Grove, and we did some of that initial research as well. So I appreciate your questions. The railroad. There's two railroads, right? There's one that runs to the factory, and that one runs about twice a week in the middle of the day. The other railroad is kind of the larger railroad. It goes to the staging track area. That runs like once every 2 weeks. That's what I've been told. So yes, that is kind of something we have to think about with our project there. Parking stalls. So let's talk about these units, right? They're meant to be owned, the whole stack, right? There's 3 stories, commercial on the ground floor, residential. It's like a townhome, but the idea is that the person that owns it can run their own business out of the bottom, or rent that space to, what Barton was saying, to some kind of contractor or in those other pictures, other developments that we've seen. There's little shops like massage parlors, beauty parlors, real estate. Shop, professional office, lots of different uses out of those. And they have 2-car garages for the residential units. So they'll have their own 2 parking stalls inside of each unit. And there's 30 additional units for the commercial. So let's see. Yeah, rented, and they're intended for individual sale. This isn't a build to rent community. And yes, we will be water wise. So hopefully that answers those questions. Happy to answer anything else.
Did you say 30, or 30?
30 parking stalls. Yeah, for the commercial square footage requirement.
Great. Thank you.
Yeah. And that's separate from the additional units. So 32 units inside, or 32 parking stalls inside the buildings, and then 30 outside. So 62 altogether.
Great. Thanks, Luke. All right, any other questions?
I just make sure I didn't miss something here. We're talking about action item 2 first, and then are we getting a presentation on the first item there?
Text amendment?
The text amendment with the presentation we received was on the second one.
One.
Yeah, and I just want to make sure I didn't miss that.
That's correct, right? Or
are they?
One presentation on both.
So okay, all right. So can maybe just come back and just help me understand what the little minor technical changes were? I don't know. I guess I missed that.
So a mixed-use zone is kind of a custom zone. So each zoning has its own set of zoning rules for it. So you're adopting the zone change, but then the text amendment says what the rules are for that zone. So it sets what uses are allowed, what the setbacks and other requirements are. So it would incorporate that into the code.
Okay. All right.
Is that good enough? All right. Any other questions? Not, we're ready for a motion.
Chair, I'd make a motion then that concerning proposed ordinance 2025-35 that we adopt that ordinance.
I'll second.
We have a motion by Vice Chair Heyer, second by Councilmember Graff to adopt proposed ordinance 2025-35. This is a roll call vote.
Councilmember Chaburka.
Aye.
Councilmember Graff.
Aye.
Councilmember Myers.
Aye.
Councilmember Ritchie.
Aye.
Councilmember Blair.
Aye.
Vice Chair Heyer.
Aye.
Chair White.
Aye, that passes.
Chair, I'd also make a motion that we adopt proposed ordinance 2025-36.
Second.
We have a motion by Vice Chair Heyer, second by Councilmember Chaburka to adopt proposed ordinance 2025-36. This is a roll call vote as well.
Councilmember Graff.
Aye.
Councilmember Myers.
Aye.
Councilmember Ritchie.
Aye.
Councilmember Blair.
Aye.
Councilmember Chaburka.
Aye.
Vice Chair Heyer.
Aye.
Chair White.
Aye, that passes.
Good luck with your project.
Super excited about that.
All right, next on the agenda is the proposed Harrison Boulevard OGX station area plan. I think Megan Moore is here, or Brandon Rippian, sorry.
You are correct. So Megan Moore is going to provide the presentation, but before I turn the time over to her, I just wanted to provide clarification on a couple of things. So with the OGX stationary plan, so we're looking at land use around 5 different OGX stations, and 3 of those are on Weber State's property. And so there's been some concern about high density housing around the D-Event Center, and we want to make sure that the public knows that we are not proposing high density housing. Our proposal is to be consistent with the Weber State University's master plan, which is to do ball fields adjacent to, sports fields adjacent to the D-Event Center. So we are not proposing high density housing. So that was one thing I wanted to clarify. And the other thing is the stationary plan is not a rezone. So this will not rezone any property around the stations. It's similar to a general plan that provides a recommendation for land use around those stations. So I just wanted to clarify those 2 things before we begin.
All right, great, thanks. All right, Megan, we can see you. Can you hear us?
I can hear you. Can you hear me?
Great, yep.
Well, good evening, council members. I will try to keep this relatively short. I know you've seen this once already, as has Planning Commission. But really quickly, just a quick overview, some highlights on the plan themselves. We'll highlight Planning Commission's recommendation and just quick next steps. With that, just a reminder that the purpose of this was to take a look at the 5 station areas along Harrison Boulevard and then on Weber State's campus, and really to take a look at things that could enhance walkability, housing options, economic development around the corridor, and high quality public spaces. It does meet a state requirement for this type of corridor with fixed guideway transit and is required by the state to be adopted by year end. As I mentioned, you've got the 5 OGX stations along the corridor. It comes from 32nd Street, 36th Street, and then the last 3 station areas are all on campus. So Weber State Central, Wildcat Village, and then the D-Event Center. Throughout the process, we've really worked this process hand in hand with Plan Ogden, of which we've also given updates throughout that process. And I should stop here and give a plug for the event Thursday evening from 5:30 to 7:30 at Union Station. And we've been really impressed by the outreach and by the community's feedback throughout. So you see the numbers there. Brandon and Barton and I talk a lot about the success story behind the community and the feedback that we've gotten and just the participation overall. It's really been a strong public outreach process and a lot of engagement from your community. And that engagement was really led to an overall vision. So this is kind of the overall vision that ties into the general plan, but talking about a connected, vibrant, and inclusive community with 4 pillars. And you'll see these track throughout what we'll talk about within the plan itself on the next slides. But being able to support existing neighborhoods, strengthen neighborhood and mixed-use centers, enhance walking, biking, and transit access, and then through all this, using your resources wisely. So diving down to what's actually in the plan, on the land use side, we've incorporated a couple different or new land use categories, again, consistent with the general plan. And these include mixed use and community facility campus. The next piece on land use is really talking about medium intensity development. So not all high density, not all apartments or condos, and not all single family, but kind of that mix, that bridge between the two, and townhomes, cottage lots, etc. And then some minimal zoning changes along the corridor to support infill, and we'll talk about that in regards to commercial development, as well as allowing ADUs to promote that housing diversity. A little bit about the land use along the corridor. At the north end, on the two station areas right along Harrison there at 32nd and 36th, you'll see that blue shade, that teal color. That's mixed use. So right around your station area, mixed use, and you just talked a lot about this. So retail or businesses on the ground floor, and then typically residential above. Vertical mixed use can also accommodate retail at ground level and office above, but the idea is that you've got jobs and housing in close proximity to those stations. Between the two stations, that bright orange is more higher density. So think apartments, condos, and then a buffer in that lighter, darker brown, not quite the yellow at the edges, but that darker brown is that transition where you would see more townhomes or cottage courts as that infill, and transitioning into your single family neighborhoods kind of on the outsides of that corridor. And then on the south end, the pink color is a lot of that community facility and campus land use. Obviously, Weber State University in this case. The high density residential is at Wildcat Village, and that's in line with their overall master plan to accommodate additional student housing there. And I will point out, as Brandon mentioned, that at the D Event Center, that high density housing is no longer there. It will be sports fields instead, in line again with their master plan. And then on the west side of Harrison, again, you see a lot of that mixed use. This helps kind of support the hospital, provide additional services, retail in line with that, and can also provide housing in that context as well. On the housing and affordability side, again, just being able to strengthen this diversity of housing. So everything from affordable student housing to moderate income, as well as lifting ADU restrictions and supporting both rental and ownership along the corridor. On the transportation side, really taking a different look at how connectivity works along the corridor and on either side of the corridor and across the corridor. So looking at complete streets, whether or not that's Harrison or parallel streets, parallel north-south streets, but supporting slower, safer neighborhood greenway routes. So you kind of get on the street, as shown in the picture, and ride your bike down the middle of the street. And then looking at mid-block crossings to enhance that connectivity overall, and really becoming a little bit more walkable along the corridor itself. In addition, being able to create more efficient connections both to campus, so across Harrison itself, and then to get up into the trails and the foothills as well, and kind of corridor-wide taking a look at safety infrastructure, making sure it's safe for both pedestrians and vehicular traffic and bike traffic along the corridor. The economic perspective of the corridor is really kind of focusing on kind of the struggling commercial areas, right? And all of this helps by increasing some of that housing density along the corridor, increasing the walkability so people are walking by businesses, but to be able to redevelop some of those aging one-story commercial areas into these vibrant mixed-use places. On the parks and trail side, don't have a whole lot of space along the corridor to put a new park, but being able to utilize some of that redevelopment area or spaces in line with some of those mixed-use developments to create plaza opportunities, small pocket parks, et cetera, within those station areas, especially along 32nd and 36th Streets. Again, taking a look at that connectivity, enhancing sidewalks and bike access, and ensuring trail connections up to Discovery Loop and BST. And last but not least, being able to not just maintain your infrastructure along the corridor, but provide enhancements if needed for additional densities. And then I just heard somebody mention, being water wise and focusing on landscaping. This also includes things like that. So being sure to have tree lined streets, focusing on compact development, reducing parking, all to kind of reduce the urban heat island effect. On the implementation side of things, assuming this is adopted, moving forward in implementation starts kind of right away, right? So getting started on key actions, being able to work with some of your key partners in this, whether that be UTA and Weber State, to start working on actual implementation of some of these actions. It is not a day one and done plan. It will continue for a number of years, and it will be important to be able to report back annually on key successes from the plan, and potentially even identify new actions as you move through the process. Some of those key actions are included on kind of the next slides, and again, kind of focus back on some of the things we've discussed in previous slides. But, in the blue buildings on the northwest corner of 32nd and Harrison there, being able to redevelop some of those vacant or underutilized sites into something that's a little bit more vibrant, incorporates retail and housing. And then smaller scale, not wholesale changes along the corridor, but very focused infill opportunities, kind of like you just discussed on the last agenda item. But those opportunities to increase housing density, increase housing diversity within those neighborhoods, transitioning into single family neighborhoods. Again, kind of mid-corridor here at 36th Street, really focusing on traffic calming and safety improvements right at that intersection. Also looking at potential shared parking and micro-mobility options within some of the larger parking lots on campus or along Harrison. Redeveloping some of the vacant sites you'll see kind of in yellow areas and blue areas along Harrison, further down by campus. And then on campus itself, being more in line with the Weber State Master Plan, accommodating new student housing on campus. And then at the very far south, the D Event Center station, really focusing on improvements to connections across Harrison, looking at traffic calming at some of those intersections as well, accommodating new sports fields and recreation buildings, and again, some of those piecemeal redevelopment of vacant and infill sites along the corridor. With that, I know we had talked with you all a couple weeks back and answered some questions there. Planning Commission had recommended this for approval to council back in August, and staff, of course, recommends approval of the plan. And then quickly, next steps. If approved, if adopted this evening, the city would then submit the station area plan to WFRC for certification. And then the city must submit that confirmation to Department of Workforce Services for tracking and compliance. And upon that, it's time to get started and move this forward. With that, I think myself and Brandon are available for any questions.
Great. Thanks, Megan. Any questions for her?
I noticed going through the packet that at one point it looked like the BRT might be rerouted on Weber State's campus around the D Event Center. Can somebody speak to that and what kind of effect that might have on this plan?
We are not planning on rerouting it, so I don't know if one of the lines just was shifted by accident.
It looked like it kind of wound right over by those sports fields that were proposed by Weber State.
Okay. Megan, can you go back to the slide that has the event
Let me see
center?
if I can find that in my
I will.
packet. Not that one.
Not that one?
Mm-mm.
The next one?
Let me see if I can find it in here.
Is it the pink dashed line that
I think
you're
it
seeing?
was.
Okay, yeah, that would be a trail network. So pedestrian connection.
Okay. I'll see if I can find it.
Okay.
And find my mistake, apparently.
Oh, no, you're
Sorry
good.
about that.
No, you're fine.
So I have a question. So we talked about, is it complies with the general plan, this general plan or the new one coming?
The new one coming. So it's, yeah, this is in alignment with the vision and then the proposed future land use map.
Okay.
That was created off of the vision.
Can we do that?
What's that? Yeah, Chair, if I had just a couple questions. And I've asked this before, so just when we're creating a framework where future decisions can be made based on this as a plan, and I've just tried to grasp or get my head around what's going to be, how are we going to measure success? Is there going to be something that comes along later on that says, no, you have to build such and such here because you have this plan and there's a requirement of some kind? I guess that's just kind of my main question is like we're creating the framework, but still yet any future zone changes are still going to have to come before a council through a planning commission and that whole process.
Yeah, so this acts like similar to like a small area plan or like an appendage to the general plan. So it's a document that recommends land use around those 5 station areas. So a property owner would have to apply for a rezone, and we would look to this document and use it as a recommendation. But yeah, a property owner would definitely be required to apply for a rezone to change it to the proposed land use. And then as far as measuring success, the state doesn't necessarily provide a specific number of housing units or, I'm trying to think. Anyway, it doesn't say specific.
Like there was the
there are
criteria.
four principal items that we have to address, such as housing, transportation, and economic. So, thank you.
Here we go. There. Oh.
So, and in most cases, stationary plan just includes one station. In our scenario, we were approved to do a stationary plan as a corridor because the 5 stations have overlap. And so when we look at future housing or meeting these 4 principles, we'll look at the entire corridor. So we don't necessarily have to add housing to every station area. If we add housing to the 32nd area station, then that would meet the requirement. Byron Head is also here he's with Wasatch Front Regional Council, and he reviews a lot of all of the stationary plans, and he may be able to provide some more clarification. But our understanding is that as long as we're striving to meet those 4 principles and we adopt this plan and it's certified by the Wasatch Front Regional Council, we just have to make progress and have a 5-year action plan to meet the state requirement.
And I think that's what you're asking is what is that 5-year plan. So,
do you have any clarification on that?
Hi, Council. Byron Head, Wasatch Front Regional Council, community planner, working with a lot of cities on their stationary plans throughout the region. And as has been said, there's not a cut and dry measure for what quantifies as, success. The framework of stationary planning legislation as it exists now is more about the city doing its part to set the stage for the actual infrastructure and development that the city envisions and would like to see in the future, but recognizing that the city is only one player in the urban fabric and how things get built. There's no minimum, mileage of new bike lanes or new retail square footage or anything like that. It's all about, is the city doing their part to create an environment that really leverages the asset that is the BRT in this case to make a built environment around it that is making good sense of and use of that asset that we already have in place.
Okay. Thank you.
Does that answer your question?
Yeah, I think so. I mean, yeah.
So I'm gonna the piece I was looking at is within the administration's transmittal on page 5. It looks like a rendering of what Weber State's new sports and practice facility fields might look like around the D-Event Center, and there's a dashed line with a bus encircled where it's labeled protected BRT route.
I don't have that with me. Can I look at it?
I might be able to share it here too.
Thanks, Megan.
And it's actually page 10 of the PDF file, right? Is that what you're saying?
Yeah.
It's page 5 of the presentation, but page
Oh.
10 of the PDF file.
Correct. Page 10 of our transmittal.
Yes.
There you go.
Let's see.
Is it this one?
Looks the
Yeah,
same.
It looks the same
That's
to
the
me.
same.
Because the
north
BRT
is to your
route
left.
goes past the softball
Oh,
field.
north is to the left.
Goes past
That's
the
the-
softball field,
okay.
the event center, and then it goes to the station at the event center, and then it goes down.
Yep, north to the
towards-
left explained it all. Thank you.
towards McCady.
North is usually up.
Oh,
north,
yeah.
North should be up.
That's a good point.
Let's get
That's how I
this.
go. I
It's
know.
landscape, so yeah. Okay, that makes sense.
Did I flunk something?
No, somebody that drew
All
that
right.
flunked. Yeah.
No more dirty tricks, people. The map, north is up.
Well, it should always be up. All right, any other questions?
Should we expect metrics or anything coming up? Are we going to change to the metric system or?
Oh,
No?
yes.
Okay. I just want to be ready.
Yeah. No other comments or questions? All right. This is an opportunity at this point to receive public input. Is anybody here that would like to talk about that?
There's Thor.
Just come up and give us your name and. Yep.
Meredith Lund, 3465 Polk. I'm very familiar with the OGX. I ride it regularly, anywhere from 25th downtown to the McKay Hospital. I don't know what body, but we need to get a crosswalk back at 35th and Harrison. There was a crosswalk there. It was taken away. There's a crosswalk down by Mount Ogden Junior, so I think there could be a crosswalk put back in at 35th and Harrison. Now, I'm a half full person. My glass is always half full. Nevertheless, some of this strikes me a little bit of a field of dreams, build it and they'll come. And the idea of, what do you call it? Eminent domain leaves a really bad taste in my mouth. These properties are all owned by somebody. There isn't as much vacancy as they say. Yes, 32nd west of northwest of Harrison's had its problems. In fact, unfortunately, Carl's Superstore is closing. And so I know things need to be shook up a little bit. Nevertheless, Well, I said, it's got to be more than build it and they will come. And respect the private rights of private owners.
Thanks, Meredith.
Yeah.
Hello, I'm Thodorush. I live really close, just by the post office near Weber State. And I think this is a beautiful plan. The developing Harrison is a wondrous idea. All of the changes to Weber State are perfect. And I say that as someone who's attended Weber State within the last 5 years. It is an amazing thing. I take OGX regularly, or at least I did a while ago. I got a car, so that helped me there. But when it came to before that, I was staying at my parents' house here, and now I'm living there. I went on the OGX back and forth from the train station to the hospital, and I think this will be a wondrous change. I agree that there is actually some really big concerns with sidewalks along Harrison, and I think that could be added into any consideration. There are a lot of issues, especially near the end stops, which I fully agree with. Anyway, I think this is a beautiful plan. It's going to help students so much. The housing, it makes the housing so much more accessible, so you don't need to cross the street to get to the station from the housing. And then the fields, this is going to be an amazing change for everything. And and then making sure those businesses actually have people inside them and people living in the houses. It's amazing. I'm so happy this is happening.
Thanks, Thor.
Sorry.
Mm-hmm.
Hello, my name's Jeffrey Bistrong. I live at 35th in Iowa, and I would also like to bring back that crosswalk at 35th Street across Harrison. I regularly go up to Smith's. Sometimes I ride my bicycle up there, sometimes I have to drive, and I frequently use the OGX to go to the train station. Sorry.
Hold on.
Excuse me. This is going crazy.
Can you just stop this time?
I'm trying.
You good? Nope.
Nope. This thing has a mind of its own.
If you throw it against that pillar.
Who's calling? Max Hedger?
There we go.
Worked.
Sorry, Jeffrey, if you can start. I mean, kind of start over.
Yeah, no worries. So I frequently go to Smith's. I'm just concerned about the additional traffic in the area and the traffic impacts from the new mixed use and housing developments being proposed. I support reasonable, responsible growth, but I want to make sure that our infrastructure can handle it. And I'd like to know whether a traffic impact study has been completed and what specific mitigation steps are planned to manage the increased vehicle flow in this area. And also, I'm wondering if the city has considered expanding transit options, specifically whether adding an OGX stop at Smith's is possible. Improved transit could significantly reduce the traffic and make these developments more sustainable for the long term. Thank you for your time and for considering my concerns.
Great, thank you.
Linda Sanchez, I don't know that I really could give you great input about this because I don't use it. The only thing my husband, I hear him say every time we're driving is that he wishes that the time so that people, especially with disabilities, have more time to be able to get to either cross the street or get to the stations that are in the middle. He just doesn't feel like there's enough time for those that have disabilities and that might present a problem. Thank you.
Thanks, Linda.
Blaine Ritchie, 1480 Country Hills Drive. There's been a lot of confusion in my mind with the rollout of this proposal. High-density housing was shown on the D Event Center parking lot, then removed, but it's still shown on what is perceived as an empty lot on Country Hills Drive, and that's not even within a quarter mile of the radius from the station. I've talked to Councilman Graff about it a couple times, but it's still showing. I just showed it on your presentation. It's still there. That is not in the radius, and it shouldn't be included. And you say that, yeah, things will have to be rezoned later, and it's not just going to happen. But my fear is it gets on there. Years later, someone looks at it. Oh, yeah, hey, look, this should be there. And eminent domain, that's a concern I have as well on these kind of things. This corridor really should not be an oval. It should be a series of figure eights or circles, because I think you're going outside the requirement that the state has. And it also seems like the committee or whoever's doing this is looking for every conceivable nook and cranny to put either an ADU or an apartment, high density housing somewhere, even in the neighborhoods. And I got a real problem with that. And who's going to pay for these ADUs? Is that the landowner going to decide to do one? Who's going to help finance that? How's that going to happen? I don't understand that. And again, since the state doesn't specify high density, why is it such broad? Why is this such a broad sweeping plan to try to cram as much stuff in as possible? I don't understand that. And also, you know, this whole thing, the whole system was sold to residents originally to connect Weber State to downtown. And someone in the Planning Commission said it's like a Trojan horse. You know, you have a solution looking for a problem. And trying to put all this on Harrison, I think, is going to be an issue with traffic. And I agree with the other sentiments of other people. There should be some kind of a way of looking at this to give this state what they need, but it doesn't require the density that I think is being proposed by the Planning Commission. Growth should be organic. It shouldn't be forced. And it seems to me like that's what's going on here, is we're trying to do too much stuff. And having a framework is fine. I don't disagree with that. But, you know, the concerns that I had have not been addressed, or at least have not been taken out of the plan. And I think that needs to be done, because I don't trust that that's not going to come up in the future and someone can say, oh, yeah, hey, look, they approved it. And it's going to be a different group than's here right now. And so we have to fight to keep these things out of our neighborhoods, like, all the time. It's a constant battle. And so that's what I would suggest.
Thanks, Blaine. All right, enough, guys. Sorry. Come on up. No, you can come up. Just no clapping, please.
My name is David Walling again. When I got this flyer, it didn't have an access to that plan. I looked online and I found the August one of this plan, but I couldn't find the Ogden Station area plan. That's 11/18, or was planned for today. So I'd like to have more access to the information to the public. That way it's more transparent. Because if you're not being transparent, then as citizens, we're going to start assuming that you're not being transparent, and then we're going to have a problem. So that was my first issue. Second issue, when we base this plan, I was reading through the August plan, and you're basing it off of moderate income housing, which is individuals that make 80 to 120% of median income for the state, I'm assuming. But nothing was mentioned of the people that make less than 80% of that income and where they're going to come in on this plan. So I'd like to have that clarified, please. Again, like this gentleman that was before me about the high density, the ADUs. This town has been a residential town with business. And as we start getting more and more of these high density living arrangements, that is going to take away from our residential feeling. We're going to become more and more like downtown Salt Lake City. Do we really want to be downtown Salt Lake City, downtown Provo? I don't think so. I think we want to have a nice balance, but at the same time, we We've had a couple of developments burned. And Lehigh had one just a few weeks ago or a week ago. And that it makes me wonder, some people out there are against these high density housing. Don't know, it's just speculation on my part. But maybe that's a sign. Maybe some people are not willing to go there. Okay, so the other big one I have is there any plan for segregated bicycle lanes during this corridor? If we don't have segregated, then we're taking a chance on those individuals possibly getting hurt by traffic. So I'd like to see maybe something in the plan for segregated bicycle lanes. Thank you.
Thanks, David. All right, let's go online to Teresa. Teresa's iPhone.
Hi, this is Teresa Bramwell. Can you hear me?
I can.
Thank you. Thank you for the opportunity to speak on this topic today. I own the property just off of the transit station on 25th and Monroe. And so obviously I have a lot of concern about what's happening further along the line, as should everyone further along the line be concerned about what's happening on 25th and Monroe, as we are all in the same pot. I have just absolutely been inundated with crime from homeless people. I don't know exactly where they're coming from, but I have an idea that they're coming the apartments.
Hey, Teresa,
to
just
change
real quick,
topic
can
a little
you
bit.
just repeat that? You cut out real quick. Sorry. Can you just repeat what you said?
I just said that I've been a crime victim enormous amounts of times from homeless people. And I have kind of decided that those people are coming from the apartments on the corner, or either friends of the people in the apartments on the corner, or somehow they're just arriving on 25th and Monroe. Maybe they came on the bus. I don't know how they came. But the crime is a huge problem. I think we should look ahead to what's happening in Salt Lake with their station area plans. I don't know if anybody's been abreast of what's happening with the ballpark area, but that started off with crime and fires and homeless people everywhere. And then developers acquired the property, and years later, nothing has been built. And now they're trying to change the zoning to 15-story buildings in that neighborhood. And then in the work session right before this meeting, we just talked about a single family residence, which would also include an apartment, being able to house 15 unrelated people. So can you imagine 15 unrelated people in every apartment in the city of Ogden? I cannot imagine that. That horrifies me. So I have a lot of concerns about, the Trojan horse idea. I would love to see a grocery store on 25th and Monroe. That would alleviate having to extend the BRT to Smith's. We used to have a grocery store on 25th and Monroe. We don't have like a full service grocery store anymore. I would love to see that. I think I'm out of time, so I appreciate you taking my call. Thank you.
Thanks, Teresa.
I'm tiny. Hold on. My name is Sophia Garza. I live on 12th Street near the Winco. And I am in support of almost anything that gets ADUs in the city. We are living at a time where it is incredibly difficult to find affordable housing, and that is leading a lot of young folks to have to move in with their parents. And you know what leads to better relationships amongst family members who have to live together? An ADU where you get to be a little separate from mom and dad, especially for those who have children of their own. Luckily, I have not had to find myself in this position, but I have had friends who have had to move back home with parents. And I think that ADUs are also another like boon for anyone who has a small business that they run out of their home, building additional things. Building an ADU in their I can't think of the word in their yard can sometimes relieve pressure of trying to find studio space, which is also incredibly difficult to find at a reasonable price. When we're looking at one-bedroom apartments that have a rent of, for example, what I pay, $1,500, an ADU could really relieve pressure for people who are already struggling a lot, and living close to a bus line when you are low income is just incredible to have. When I was a college student, I was so dependent on all of the buses. I took buses to class, I took buses to the tracks, and I went to school before the OGX was a thing. And so there are some concerns in the plan, but ultimately I think that we're going to benefit as a city from having this. And as far as the comment about not wanting to become downtown Salt Lake, where we live is expanding, whether we like it or not. People are coming, people are moving here, people are seeing value in our city. And if we want to make sure that we have space for everyone, we need more housing, and especially along transit lines. So I am in favor of this plan. Yes, thank you for your time.
Thank you.
Hello. There we go. My name is James Sorensen. I'm 18. And I think it's pretty obvious from the data we've seen recently that there's an economic recession coming. I'm wondering how these plans are supposed to help with that. Because I have seen and heard people saying that getting a job right now is the hardest it's ever been. And it's one of those things where it's like storm protection. It's not our fault, but it is our responsibility. And I want to know what Ogden specifically has in store for that, because Utah in general is in a pretty bad position right now, we have to admit. So it's like, wanted me to speak. Really.
All right. Anything else?
I would like to make a comment really quickly. Bart Blair, I've heard that you are a small business owner. What do you think of the economy right now?
We'll
You
have
go ahead
him
and finish
answer
your
that in a
3
little
minutes,
while.
and then I'll
Yeah.
chime in.
All right. Thanks, James.
Wow, there we go.
All right. Anyone else? All right. There's a lot of things. Oh, go ahead.
Michael Linford again. I would like to voice my opinion that I think this is something that many of us young folks seem as to be kind of our dream plan right now. Sounds really awesome. I would love more information on bike lanes. Currently, it is very scary and dangerous going from my apartment across from Smith's to my job downtown on bike. So cars sometimes preferred in that matter. And I want to, there's many opinions in here that I've had a lot of agreement with. And I think one is that something needs to be done about homelessness as we continue through time. And that is that people do need options for affordable housing, those who do not make 80% of the median. And we have seen other places in the United States that have had great success in homelessness and poverty reduction, such as Houston, Texas, where from 2011 to 2023, they saw a 64% decrease in homelessness, largely in part due to interconnection between services that assist unhoused people, it's very difficult to, if you have housing, to also get a job and also pay for your groceries, and getting one of those isn't always enough either. So increasing affordable housing is fantastic. Increasing safety on the sidewalks is great, but there is limited real estate, and I don't understand mentally quite yet where the bike lane's going to go and not make traffic much worse. Those are my thoughts. Thank you.
Great. Thanks, Michael. All right. Seeing no movement in here or no one else online. Making noise. Okay. All right. Let's try to answer some of these questions if we can. Hi, Barton. So I wrote down a bunch. Let's hopefully we'll hit some of these. 31st. Let's start 35th Street crosswalk. It came up a couple of times.
Yep.
We don't have a specific plan for restoring that crosswalk. We are wanting to include additional pedestrian crossings in the corridor.
Yeah, this section specifically had a long stretch that didn't have pedestrian crossings. So you can see on the, it's dashed in pink where it says new pedestrian infrastructure. So that's something that we think should be considered in the future.
Yeah.
So is that 30? What is that? 33rd, 4th?
Yeah.
That one's 34th, I think.
This is 33rd.
33rd, yeah.
It already has it.
Mm-hmm.
Oh,
that's the school crossing.
Yeah. So yeah, I mean, we certainly want to improve pedestrian crossings, and if it's not there, I mean, we can include 35th in considering that.
Okay. We talked a little bit, or a lot of people talked about the infrastructure, sidewalks, bicycle lanes. Does the plan take into consideration where we might add sidewalks, where we might add bicycle lanes? I know we talked about bike lanes, but where?
Yeah, definitely. And what we are emphasizing is routes parallel to Harrison, just because there's so much going on in Harrison, and where we can do parallel routes, it's much lower volume, much more comfortable for bicycles to use. So parallel to and perpendicular to, where you can get across Harrison into downtown. So
yeah, the idea is to create better connections across Harrison so that people that live, west of Harrison can have access to the east side, as well as access to the trails and the trail system.
That doesn't necessarily mean separated lanes, though, right? I mean, I'm trying to envision on the road how you would separate those lanes. And I don't know if there's on Harrison, yeah.
No, yeah. So the proposal would be to have like Barton said, the parallel bike lanes. So that would be on your streets that are have low traffic in the neighborhoods. So typically they're called bike boulevards. So they're just slower streets that feel more comfortable for people to use but they would be designated as a bike route.
Might be a little confusing on this map because it's going down Harrison Boulevard, the green dotted
path,
line.
right.
It's going down Harrison Boulevard.
The plan does say that should be evaluated, that where it makes sense, we could consider bike infrastructure. That's why there is a dash lane or a dashed line. So that still needs to be evaluated, but that was something that was put in the plan because there may be areas of Harrison where it makes sense to have the protected bike lane.
yeah, you see the note says identify feasibility of protected bike lanes in key locations along Harrison Boulevard, not necessarily
right.
Full bike lane, the full distance.
Something was brought up about traffic studies or traffic impact studies. Would that be?
We didn't do a typical traffic volume type study, but we did have traffic engineers involved through the process, involved UDOT and Kimley Horn and UTA, UDOT in this process.
So out of curiosity, if one of those buildings decided to be built based on the plan, would they be required to do a traffic study?
Yes. Unless it's just a small addition or something like that, but yes, they would.
To figure out what the impact would eventually be.
Yes.
And that would be something we'd study as far as what we would allow that intensity there or whatever, right?
Yes.
Correct?
Yes. And in most cases, if you're accessing a UDOT facility, which Harrison is, UDOT has to approve that too. So.
Chair White, can I make a clarification too that I think is important? I don't speak planner, but I work with a bunch and have had to get conversant in it. I think what's maybe being lost in translation, sorry, when Brandon Rippian said that this proposal doesn't change any zoning, that's kind of his planner speak for saying that a lot of those details, correct me if I'm wrong, but a lot of the details that are, and concerns that are coming up are not contemplated here appropriately because those are in later considerations, right?
Yes.
When the rezones take place, when the site plans are evaluated, so the like build it and they will come is not a concept contemplated here whatsoever. Right. It would actually be this sort of sets the vision and the concept broadly, right? And so the green line on Harrison is just a marker that just sort of notes that a bike lane and a facility of some kind for active transportation would be considered in the future. And then if or when that time comes, then especially with this being a UDOT facility, the Harrison Boulevard, that would be appropriately studied and laid out, right? Mm-hmm. And same with traffic. So if there are specific proposals, so the pictures that are in here are not the specific projects that are being proposed because those are not even being proposed. They're just sort of renderings that give some level of concept as to what it could become, right?
Yes.
And that would be related to the land use, which you were referring to in the zone change that would come later.
Yes.
Right? So we don't have a lot of those details, but those are very valid questions when that time comes, no doubt about it. It's just that in planner speak and in planner industry, that's not the time to consider it, or this is not the time to consider those specifics, right?
Correct.
Okay.
Correct. And also note, it was brought up eminent domain a couple times. There's no anticipation of eminent domain by the city in this project. So it's development happening by private property owners on their private property at their time when they want to develop it on their property. Now, we have had great discussions with two of the property owners right at these nodes where they were kind of thinking about something. And we said, look at this picture. What if you did that? And we can set that expectations to them and say, here's what the cities would like. Here's the kind of things we want. But it's them doing it. It's not the city taking the property.
Maybe, Chair, can I just, with a follow-up to that, just one of the comments kind of made me think that there was a perception out there that people would be forced to follow the plan. Like if you were a property owner and you lived in the area and that's colored a specific way, that at some point in time somebody would come and force you, and that's not at all what this is saying.
No, no, no.
It's just laying out the vision. Yeah.
Yes. And if they came to us and said, we want to do this, we could say, yes, that matches our vision, or no, it does not match our vision.
Just there's a couple other things here. We talked about the ADUs. Where did that even? What was that even something in the plan?
Yeah, so we do encourage accessory dwelling units in there, and you can see on the picture, encourage ADU development. Now, accessory dwelling units are allowed everywhere in Ogden, all residential neighborhoods, except for the Mount Ogden community. And so this would encourage those along this route. Yes.
That might be the Mount Ogden community right there.
Encourage or allow?
Allow.
So that would be a change.
Yeah, and that not by this plan, but that would require a future ordinance change to do it, to comply with it. And I'll say there's been a, accessory dwelling units have changed a lot in the communities. 30 years ago, they were something new. Now they're something very common. Many residential neighborhoods have many of them. So.
I don't think they were new. They existed in perpetuity.
Yeah. They were called granny
We just
flat.
called them that. It
Yes.
was just
Granny
a
flat.
new name for them.
Yes.
Yeah.
And a couple other, so can you describe what the moderate income housing or the requirements around the 80 to 120% AMI?
Yeah, so the
State, is it county, is it city?
Yes. Yeah, so the state requires that every city do a moderate income housing plan. You have to identify how your community is going to accommodate housing for people who make 80% or less of the area median income, which would be on the county basis. So, and the station area plan is part of your moderate income housing plan. So as part of the plan, we have to identify that there are areas that could accommodate housing below, for people below 80% AMI. It doesn't require that it only be for that. It just says there has to be areas that could accommodate.
Would it look at already housing that's already below 80% AMI and take that into account?
Yeah, as part of the moderate income housing plan, we look at all the units throughout the city. As far as 80%, excuse me, 80% AMI, 50% AMI, and 30% AMI. So we count all of those, and like Barton said, this is part of that moderate income housing plan. So.
Yeah. And I'll note that when we said, well, there's proposals for multi-household housing along the corridor, it's areas that are already zoned for multi-household housing, and many of them have
high density residential. Those are already high density residential.
Yeah, so we're just not.
It's already
down.
zoned that way.
Yes.
One question I thought was interesting, talking about the radius, the quarter mile, half mile radius, whatever it is.
So for the BRT or bus rapid transit,
Around the stops, yeah.
So those are required to have the study area is a quarter mile. For a track stop or a front runner station, those are a half mile radius for their stationary plan. So yeah, for this corridor, we captured the quarter mile radius. I'm trying to remember which area was outside of.
It just was brought up by Mr. Ritchie that.
Let me clarify. So that's the minimum. The state requires a quarter mile radius for a stationary plan. We can decide to do more than a quarter mile if we want to, or if it's a front runner station, we can do a stationary plan that's larger than a half mile from the station. So it is a quarter mile, but we can go outside of that if we want to. And in this instance, it made sense because there was the overlap and it was the Harrison Boulevard corridor.
Yeah, and I'll add that it doesn't dictate what has to happen in that circle. Now, we're doing a plan for the whole community, and as you can see, like a lot of the areas are single-family residential. Said, yeah, let's keep them low-density single-family residential. So that line doesn't demark where a zoning boundary has to be. It's just where the plan has to be, and it can be. You can plan inside that boundary whatever you want. You can plan outside that boundary, whatever is most appropriate.
Chair, can I just go back to the AMI? Can you just define what AMI is? There was a question about, is that a statewide number? Is that what's the region? And just kind of.
Yeah, so it's area median income, and that's based on the county. So, so our AMI, the 80% would be based on Weber County's area median income, not Ogden's.
Okay.
Is that?
Yeah. Where if you looked specifically at Ogden's, it'd be a much lower number, correct?
Correct.
So by incorporating the county, it raises that number.
That's true.
Yeah.
So I'm just going back to that. So, but sorry, shifting again. So did we change the boundary around that Country Hills stop? then? Is that, I mean, as far as the half mile, I mean, the quarter mile?
Can you
see, Megan? Can you go to the next slide?
So that's just, we did define that as a study area boundary. On the edge of there, the only plan change that we anticipate is making the McCady Hospital a community facility zone in the future to accommodate, which would accommodate a hospital. So it's kind of changing the name, but there isn't a change kind of on the edge of that that's proposed.
So this is the current future land map that we're looking at regardless of the station area. Is that what you're saying?
Yes.
Okay.
Is the Chair, is the area just would that be west of Harrison Boulevard? That's the medium density. Is that already zoned medium density, or is that a change?
That's
so you've got the mixed center.
Yes, that's already.
That probably is.
That's a little bit. Okay, yeah, that is already. Those are apartments there, right?
Yes.
Yeah. Next to the old McCady Hospital site.
Let's see.
To the north or to the
It's
south? Those are apartments to the
office site,
south of it.
apartments.
Just west of Wildcat Village.
Yeah.
Yes. Those are
That is zone medium residential. There wasn't a proposal to change that. I think that's a single family neighborhood though.
Yeah, it is a single family, but I think it was zoned medium density. Well, we can look at that though.
I think those are. Not right next to old Dr. Orson Heights office, right? Just north of there. So.
It probably is apartments, yeah. I think we've hit everything. Councilmember Blair, would you like to address the economy question?
Well, would I like to address it? I mean, I'm not an economist by any means, but I've noticed that it's hard for everyone. Our business is no different than anyone else's. So yeah, times are tough for a lot of people right now, and money's tight. Everything's more expensive. Everything's harder. Rents are going up, and it makes it more difficult for everybody. And we have to be mindful of all those people and everybody in every different situation. So I know for us and our business, that's what we're dealing with right now. So yeah.
I think I hit everything. Is
The
anybody else writing notes?
Yeah, the only thing that I was thinking about was Linda's comment about the time to walk to the stations, and it's definitely a concern. But I'm wondering, I mean, that's more of like a UTA maybe question, but I don't know if they have like guidelines on how long those periods are or something to get across.
Crosswalks, yeah.
Yeah, I don't know if that's really in the city's control, but I think it's a good point if that seems to be an issue.
On that same topic, I had a constituent shared this idea with me. He actually, there are strong towns meetings on Monday nights in Ogden. And what was suggested is we adopt something that other cities have done where you give the pedestrian the walk sign at an intersection a head start. So the four corners of vehicle traffic hold to allow the individual to get into the crosswalk so they're seen. So if you picture yourself making your way across the street and you've got cars on your left that are going to make a right-hand turn as quickly as you get a walk sign, they may not be looking for a pedestrian there, where if the pedestrian is out a little further, they'll notice them. And maybe for the handicapped as well, they get a little head start on the traffic before it's entering an intersection. But that's something that I think coincides with what Linda was talking about that might bring an advantage to some of the short timing cycles that her husband observed.
Chair White, can I add a comment to that? Every time I see something strong towns related, I generally like what's being discussed. I think they're very sensible, they're forward thinking, they're very place making, and I generally really like that. I loved what you just discussed because it hits on other priorities within other departments as well, where our police department is really focused on right-hand turns and crosswalks, because that's where we have isolated where we're seeing more auto peds. And so people are being hurt in those right-hand turn things. And so that's something that our engineering group contemplates on, because what we haven't done in the past is we haven't looked at all of the tools available to us to help resolve those sorts of issues. And right now we are. So those are the kinds of things that we're collaboratively looking at across departments. But again, those are not necessarily contemplated here. But when those improvements are made, those are absolutely contemplated in that at that time.
Yeah,
right?
Thanks, Mayor.
Yeah, but love your comment and the idea around that.
Chair, if the other comment, we don't control the BRT route as a city council, but I love the idea of wrapping that around to Smiths somehow. If there's a way to do that, that would really enhance that route, and it could be done. But anyway, because there is a stop there, so it's just a matter of flipping that. So maybe something we can suggest and pass on to UTA. Yeah.
And why did we not contemplate the other BRT stops? Just so people.
Up 25th?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. Or if you have to answer that. Yeah. Yes, we definitely are planning around those stations as far as the stationary plan is required. So the state requires cities that have a front runner station, a track station, or a BRT station with a dedicated lane to have an adopted stationary plan. So that's why we have 5 stations that meet that requirement of being a BRT with a dedicated lane. So that's why this includes 5 and not all of, I think, 13.
Yeah, and it was about 3 years ago we did plans for the areas through on 25th Street through East Central. Great input we had there.
All right. I think one other quick question. So the bicycle lanes, also, are we following the bicycle master plan? Or are those other areas? Okay. Any other questions? I think we answered most of them. Thanks, guys. All right. Any comments, council members, before we?
So the way I've come, I'm just going to stand on my thinking around this for a second and share it with the group. First of all, I think this is planning for growth, not forcing growth. I think this this land use plan really allows people to envision what might be possible in the city's thinking around this corridor. I think that along here too, mixed use and some density is going to be really important. OGX is there to serve this demographic that's 80% AMI, which makes their living space more affordable in rent, but it also makes their living space more affordable because they may not need a car. A car will add about $10,000 to $15,000 to an individual's household budget every year, and that's the stat you can look up. Without a car, they can ride public transportation. OGX serves several of our largest employers. It ties in with the front runner, which will deliver people to points south, where they may also be employed. I think it creates walkable communities and keeps traffic off the road as a result, in addition to fewer cars. So I think that density also supports business. If these mixed-use developments are going to be successful with services and restaurants and coffee shops and business offerings, there have to be people living there. It's just that important. That we bring people and their dollars together to spend in a local community. I like this plan, and I like the OGX, and I like the work that's been done to get us to this point.
May I make a comment?
Sorry, you cannot.
It's to
Sorry, you
answer
cannot.
one question
Yeah.
about UTA
Sorry, you cannot.
locating the bus. I just wanted to answer her question because I used to work for UTA.
Any other? Sorry, sir. Thank you.
Thought I'd ask.
Any other comments? I know. Any other comments from the council members?
Chair, can I make a comment for the council to consider, as well as the community? I really liked Councilmember Graff's remark that this plan doesn't force growth, but plans for it. I am constantly talking with the other mayors in the county and around the state about growth, and there are a number of different paradigms around growth, and the word growth kind of triggers some emotion for everybody, and it's totally understandable. Like, I get it too. And the thing that we have really suffered from is that we have had so much growth happen so fast here, and we were not prepared for it. And we ended up with density in many of the wrong places, frankly. And that's why we have the general plan process underway, which started like right when I started. And that's a long 2-year process, but we suffered from the consequences of not preparing for it. And there are a lot of mayors that are, and communities, frankly, that are struggling from the same dynamic. If you don't, I don't have the ability as a mayor, and no mayor does, to stop macroeconomics or different forces that are coming for us. So I always ran on the platform, and I still live on the paradigm that if we don't prepare for it, it'll happen to us. And that's going to lead to more of what we already got, which is high density in really the wrong places. That's how you end up with a skate shop with apartments on both sides on 12th Street without any access to open space for families and for kids. And so in this case, where the state requires that we have stationary plans, requires that we plan for and provide for density in our city around these specific nodes, it's very important that we plan for those areas very appropriately and that we have it somewhere. The most appropriate places through growth, and I think that most planners would agree, is that downtown core, and on corridors of mass transit and transportation. And so that's what this is attempting to do. It's not a nod toward density in all of our neighborhoods or apartments in all of our neighborhoods. It does need to be prepared for in the future and contemplated for decades in the future. And that's what this is attempting to get at. So I like the way that Councilmember Graff summarized it, where we're not forcing growth, but we do have to plan for it and have some sense of accommodation for it in the decades ahead, because the growth is coming, whether we like that or not. Thanks.
Thanks. Any other comments?
Yeah, I just was trying to understand. So there was I'm thinking about the 12th Street corridor overlay plan and just how this might relate, where again, they're just trying to avoid any kind of unintended consequence or saying later on, oh shoot, did we approve that? Is that what we did with this? And so I just want to make sure that, again, from the clarity standpoint, that this isn't changing anything that way. Yeah, so that was part of what my concern was. I mean, I do like the idea of planning for that growth, and Mayor, what you shared, I think that makes sense. But yeah, that was part of what my concern was. And then as far as I don't know if we can pull up that map on the Country Hills again, just making sure that that's nothing, that we're not looking at medium density housing in that Country Hills area as far as I could see. So I just want to double check that and see if we can look at that map again. I don't know if that's. Okay.
Is it that location? Isn't that the Tab Bank right there in that commercial?
No, that's on 40th.
On the commercial is 42nd. Yeah, that would be.
Smith's store is at Country Hills Drive in Harrison.
Yeah.
Right? So if you go north of Smith's, which is that teal color, then that's not a neighborhood there. That's Tab Bank.
Yeah, that's Tab Bank there. Yeah, on the Mix Center.
No, it's Brown, the high density.
I think that's where those apartments are that are currently there. There's currently some apartments in that spot. But just on Country Hill Drive, this whole area is.
Oh, I'm sorry, I'm in the wrong spot. You're right.
Yeah, if we're just looking east of Harrison Boulevard, you go through the commercial, that whole area up around Bart, that's all low density. There's not a pocket of any high density along that BRT line or medium density. As far as I can, okay.
Yeah, that is just based on Google Earth. It looks like single-family dwellings there.
I'm sorry. I can't picture that for some reason.
Smith's is a long, skinny one in the green teal area. So keep coming down.
I think it's, there's some houses there, and then just south is where that other building is before the Tab Bank.
There we go.
And the nice thing is that up is north.
North is up on this map.
Good job on the maps.
Yeah, that's.
And there are apartments there, but they're in the green on this. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, I was picturing Country Hills kind of around there, but it's here.
This is Country Hills.
Yeah, no, that's not it. It's here. Okay. That's better.
Yeah, so we looked at that. That actually is single family, so we would keep that the same color as all the other single family. So the low density residential is what will correct that too.
Yep.
Because that's what it should be.
Yeah.
Good catch. Thank you.
Sorry, I was not paying attention to what he just said. What did you just say?
The road's in the wrong spot.
Well, the
words are in the wrong spot.
So the area that's in beige between the teal mixed use.
Yeah.
That should be shown as low density residential, similar to the other low density residential on that map. So it should be the lighter beige color. So we will make that correction.
Okay.
Thank you.
Yeah, it's a cul-de-sac right now. So yeah.
Good motion, yeah.
I'll do it. All right, then I'd like to make a motion regarding the proposed Harrison Boulevard OGX station area plan and recommend that we adopt resolution 2025-22.
We have a motion by Councilmember Graff, second by Councilmember Myers to adopt proposed resolution 2025-22. Do you want to make any corrections before
I think we just ought to make that motion with the correction that we've identified, correcting the error that we've identified.
Is that okay?
Yeah, that is fine.
All right, we have a motion by Councilmember Graff, second by Councilmember Myers, with the correction of fixing the medium density residential around Country Hills Drive. This is a roll call vote.
Councilmember Myers.
Aye.
Councilmember Ritchie.
Aye.
Councilmember Blair.
Aye.
Councilmember Chaburka.
Aye.
Councilmember Graff.
Aye.
Vice Chair Heyer.
Aye.
Chair White.
Aye, that passes. Thank you for all your work and clarifications and answering all those questions.
And thanks for your comments.
All right, next on the agenda is reports from administration about the proposed massage business regulations. It's you.
Here we are.
All right.
Good evening, Chair White, members of the council. Thank you for the opportunity to take a few minutes to introduce the proposed Ogden City Massage Business License and Regulation Ordinance. This would create Title V, Chapter 18 of Ogden Municipal Code. The goal and intent of this ordinance is to establish clear expectations for the licensing, the operations, and the inspection of massage businesses within our city. Currently, massage businesses operate under the same general commercial business license as many of our restaurants, retailers, offices, and other businesses. There's no specific local standards or expectations tailored to massage establishments. While the state of Utah, through the Division of Occupational and Professional Licensing or DOPL, and the Utah Massage Therapy Practice Act already regulate massage professionals, there remains a gap between state-level regulations and local oversight. This ordinance is designed to help fill that gap and give the city the ability to ensure that massage businesses in Ogden operate safely, transparently, and in alignment with state law. With that background in mind, I'd just like to take a few minutes to highlight what this ordinance actually does. Some of the key components that define how massage businesses will be licensed, expected to operate, and how they're going to be inspected. Massage businesses must be registered with DOPL, and the individual massage therapist must be licensed through DOPL. And the massage the massage business must also obtain an Ogden City business license. Both the DOPL registration and the Ogden City license need to be current, and operating without either of them would be a violation. So that takes us to our application process. When making application, applicants are going to be asked to supply, When making application, applicants are going to be asked to supply company ownership details, any applicable lease agreements with property owners, or property owner consent where a lease agreement isn't present or required. We're also going to be asking for a business plan describing what types of treatments that are going to be offered in these establishments. We're going to ask for a client intake form template, and this client intake form will become more relevant when I start talking about the inspections, but that form is going to be expected to be on site on the premise and readily available at the time of inspection if asked. Applicants must also provide an employee roster listing all licensed therapists and their associated DOPL license. We're also going to ask for a disclosure of any prior license revocation or wage law violations. And that's whether that was in Ogden City or elsewhere. We want to know if this business has had a business license revoked and why. So once we have a completed application and any of the accompanying documents that go with it, we're going to take these applications in for review. Those applications are going to be routed for review through our building, fire, planning, and police department. I want to note here also that the police department is going to be notified by our business license team of any application, whether it's denied or approved. We want it on our police department's radar. During the review process and during the inspection process, our team at Ogden is going to coordinate with the DOPL team just to ensure that at a local level, any unlicensed activity is identified and reported to the state level for the appropriate disciplinary action. When the application has been successfully reviewed and a business license is ready to be issued, the individual massage therapists are going to be given a city-issued photo ID, very similar to what we do with solicitors' business licenses. Be able to put a name to a face, identify who people are. Once a business license is issued, there's going to be certain facility, operational, and conduct standards that the establishments are expected to abide by. I'll just run through some of those standards real quick. Establishments must have a main entry leading to a visible reception and waiting area. No locked interior doors during operating hours, except for restrooms, changing rooms, things of that nature. No beds or mattresses or residential use can be found in these massage establishments. Really, there should only be massage tables and massage chairs, maybe some chairs in the waiting reception area for guests waiting their appointments. And these establishments need to adhere to building and fire codes as well. Businesses may operate only between 8 a.m. and 10 p.m., and no patrons or visitors are allowed on the premise outside of business hours. A list of services provided and the costs associated with the services must be posted in a conspicuous area within the establishment. And this list must be in English, but it could also be provided in other languages as needed. Only services and prices appearing on that posted list may be offered or charged. No employee may offer or request any services or fee that is not listed. All clients must remain properly draped. No sexual contact or suggestive activity is to be permitted. No adult-oriented merchandise may be used, sold, or displayed within a massage establishment. No sexually suggestive advertising is allowed. And this is to include photographs or images of individuals in swim attire, lingerie, transparent or revealing clothing. No descriptions of services as erotic or sensual or similar in nature. No listings in adult media or sexually oriented websites. No advertising that highlights the appearance or age of massage providers. Alcohol is to be prohibited in massage establishments, and staff must remain fully clothed and display their city photo ID and Doppel license within the establishment. A client log must be maintained for every session in the massage establishment. A current employee register must be kept on site, and this employee register needs to match up with the names on the employee register, need to match up with the names that would be found on the business license. If new massage therapists are hired, that massage establishment has 10 days to update that business license and the names on that business license. And then both the client log and the employee register need to be available for a city inspection upon request. And that kind of moves us into the inspection protocol and what that looks like. But city inspectors may enter licensed premises during business hours to verify compliance. Violations require immediate correction and reinspection. Continued noncompliance may result in citation, suspension, or revocation of business licenses. If revoked, no other massage establishment may operate at that location for 3 years. There's a 3-year moratorium period between a revocation. Every business must post a human trafficking hotline notice in a conspicuous place within the establishment. And the specific language for this notice can be found in this proposed chapter in section 12. It's with the intent to increase awareness and gives employees or clients access to resources if needed. There's no additional budget impact with this ordinance. It improves efficiency and fairness by setting consistent standards for all operators. Overall, this ordinance strengthens the city's ability to protect the public, support legitimate massage professionals, and maintain transparency and safety in the industry. This ordinance isn't about creating new barriers. It's about clarity, safety, and accountability. It helps our city align with state law, provide clear expectations for business owners, and gives our licensing, code, and police staff the tools they need to ensure that every massage business in Ogden operates safely and ethically. We believe these changes will protect consumers, support licensed practitioners, and strengthen Ogden's overall business environment. Thank you for your time and consideration. I am happy to answer any questions.
All right. Any questions?
Did you say an intake form was required as well as a client log?
There's a client log that's going to be required. I think that is maybe what you're referring to as an intake form. The client log and intake form are one and the same. So there will be that client intake form, and then there will be a staff roster also.
So in some instances, I think that massage therapy can be considered medical treatment.
Sure, absolutely.
And how does a HIPAA apply to this? I'm worried about people's privacy around their medical conditions with that.
That's a great question. I'll have to visit with our legal team and see what we can figure out on that intake form, because you're spot on. It's not something that I had considered, to be quite honest.
Okay, thank you.
That's a great question. Overall, yeah, I'm supportive of this, and I've talked to several people that are in this business that are also supportive of the clarity for this. The only question I had was the 3-year suspension. Like a lot of times people are renting their locations, so would they then cause the owner of the property not to be able to let that same location be this type of business? Is that what I was hearing?
That is what it is.
I mean, it seems like that's a property rights issue versus a renter issue. So they're just renting the space out to someone. They can't be held responsible for the business that's running in there, can they?
I don't know if they could be held responsible for the business.
Well, they wouldn't be able to rent it out. I mean, for that purpose, I guess.
Sure. I think the intent there was we don't have a massage establishment have their business license revoked and then just go change their name and relocate, but not relocate to the same place and just operate under a different name. That's the intent there, but I understand what you're saying as well.
Yeah, that might be a problem.
Council, my name is Mark Hay Martinson. I'm the business license supervisor, and I would just like to speak to Councilman Graffs about the intake form. That intake form that we are going to request is a sample of that. And we are wanting to make sure that those questions, that one, it exists, and two, that they are legitimate questions, and then it does include an authorization from the client. The client register mentioned is one that would be kept on site, that when we go to do inspections, or if the police officers, if they need to do inspections, that we would request to see that. And that roster does not mention any HIPAA information such as medical treatments, anything like that. It is strictly just to account for who was there.
That's a violation if it is for a health-related reason.
Probably not, though. I mean, you sign in at your
Doctor's
primary,
office.
yeah, like if you,
But it's not like someone's going to come and look at that. Just the people working at the office are looking at that. That's just something to look into.
Thank you.
Because sometimes insurance does cover that kind. Anyway, it just gets complicated because
Yeah,
even just
yeah.
the name, if it's a medical treatment, then that's violating HIPAA.
other questions?
It's just, what kind of feedback did y'all get from massage therapy businesses? It seems like, everybody has to live by this, and they aren't currently. The list of requirements seem kind of onerous, and might become an impediment to businesses opening and operating within the confines of the ordinance. Did you get any feedback on that, Christian?
We haven't received any feedback on that. As we go through this list, in my mind, a lot of these are kind of common sense requirements that most businesses are going to be abiding by anyway. As far as posting what services you provide, how much these services cost, things of that nature. So currently in Ogden City, we have 38 massage businesses in Ogden, 38. 31 of those 38 are sole practitioners that are going to be exempt from this specific business license. They're still going to operate under they're still required to get a business license, but it would be an independent business license and not fall under these rules. So the vast majority of them, and that's going to include our small business owners or our sole practitioners who are just operating out of a rented booth in a strip mall somewhere. That's going to include those individuals. So we are going to be affecting potentially 7 current massage establishments. But to your question, I didn't directly reach out to any of those 7.
Brings up a question in my mind: does this need to be tabled for some adaptation and some legal review?
A couple of questions.
Yeah.
I don't think you can go forward.
Yeah.
I don't think we want to pass an ordinance that
Just a
violates.
couple things. Yeah, just those couple things. Yeah, for me.
It doesn't do us any good to move it forward and then have to tweak it later.
Nope.
Yeah.
Absolutely. That's a fair point. So I can do some research and some tweaking in regard
just
to
so we would
HIPAA.
have visibility to the list of people that have been there.
Yep.
And what is their confidential? What responsibility do they have?
Absolutely. And then the with the rental agreements and things of that nature, I can look into that as well.
I appreciate it. I hadn't thought of that before.
Yeah.
Chair, I'd make a motion on ordinance.
Can I ask another quick question? Just
Sure.
sorry, Vice Chair Heyer. Do we have an idea of what kind of cost an existing business might incur just to get up to speed with this? Is there is it pretty minimal or any idea on what that cost might be?
It's very minimal. As far as our additions and what we're requiring, it's more information based. Doppel licenses are already required for this profession. Right. The Doppel registration for a massage establishment, that is new to Ogden, to the state of Utah. As of October of this year, and they're still implementing that. So a lot of the financial burden isn't stemming from this ordinance or what we're changing in the business license.
Okay. Thank you.
Can I ask one more question real quick? You said something about I thought you said city issued badge or
Badge, yeah.
Yes, sir.
So anyone that's a massage therapist has to have an a badge from the city issued from the city?
Unless you're exempt from this ordinance, like your sole practitioners. But yes, sir. Very similar to what we do with solicitors.
Okay, that's what I was asking. Do we do that with any other industry?
We do, and also with our SOB business licenses, we do as well. It's not expected that they wear these badges, especially while they're in their establishment providing massages. It just needs to be displayed along with their Doppel license.
Okay, perfect. Thank you.
Yeah, and honestly, I had feedback from a business owner, and they said they actually really appreciated having this in ordinance because they want to be seen as a legitimate business. So yeah, I totally agree with your concerns. I just thought of those other concerns as we were talking.
Right, any other comment? All right.
I will just say that I do think that most massage services won't qualify for HIPAA, but there are some outside conditions where, if for example, a doctor prescribe medical treatment as a massage, and if there's billing to insurance companies, those sorts of things, it may trigger HIPAA. So we'll take a look at it and see if there's any bounds we need to put around it.
I think it would just be like whatever, who's looking at it, and then what are they doing with that information? If they already are covered under some other kind of thing. We've definitely had this issue thinking about, we already had policies in place, right, for law enforcement coming into the hospital, asking for information about caregivers or patients. But then, it's just something to think about, that layer of when is it allowed to be released or not.
Great.
You ready?
Yeah.
Chair, I'd make a motion that we table proposed ordinance 2025-37.
Second.
Wait,
Do a date
do we want
certain?
to,
Yeah, I'm gonna get the date from Janine.
I guess, ask Christian if we could if you think you could have this done by the 9th, December 9th? Would that give you enough time?
That seems pretty quick.
I sure hope so. I would have to consult with our legal team, but I would.
That's 3 weeks. So
sounds good to me. Yes, ma'am.
Okay, December 9th, that's when I'll table to.
Second.
So we have a motion by Vice Chair Heyer, second by Councilmember Blair to table this until December 9th. This is a voice vote. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? All right, great.
Good discussion.
Yeah, thank you.
Yeah.
All right, we have a couple of things. One, we have unfinished business with a communications plan, and then we will have to circle back around. We do need to vote on the honorary mayor joint proclamation. So I missed that. So we'll do that after.
it's an error.
You come on up, Steve.
It's not official till it's official.
It's not official. Yeah.
Yes, hello.
Call her back.
Good evening. I think I'll be really quick here.
That certificate with you. Might go down in flames.
So, yes, this is regarding the extension of the Wall Avenue corridor plan, the preferred downtown street concept that the council reviewed and discussed on October 21st. As you may remember, while that was being discussed, there was some comments about how this needed some more time, and it was extended to allow the administration and the planning department to have more time to discuss the downtown concept with UDOT and other key stakeholders. And it was anticipated that we'd come back in around 6 months or so with a plan that's ready for the council to look at and consider adopting. And so the communication plan, the rules and norms talk about how, as council staff, when an extension happens, we'll come back with a communication plan for that. In this case, it's very simple. We've formally requested that the planning department send in a new transmittal once that's ready for the council to look at again, after that conversation's been had with UDOT. So that's the communications plan.
Great. Thanks. Any questions?
Just to clarify,
Yeah.
so it will be noticed just like if it were a new item.
So the ball's in their court.
Yep.
Good.
All right,
I would
Okay.
love to make a motion to recognize Carolyn Brierly as the 2025 honorary mayor of Christmas Village.
Second.
All right, we have a motion by Councilmember Jaberka, second by Vice Chair Heyer to officially bring in Karen Brierly as the honorary mayor for Christmas Village. This is a voice vote. All in favor?
Aye.
Any
Yay,
opposed?
Carolyn.
All right, let's
Do a picture.
All right, next on our agenda is public comments. This is an opportunity to address the council regarding any concerns or ideas on any issue or topic. If you have any issues or concerns, please come up and state your name and.
All right.
Good evening, council members and Mayor Nadowski. My name's Asenet Garza Caballero. I've been an Ogden resident since 2002. I live on Jackson near 25th. Okay. On the morning of, sorry, I was trying to tell this, but those of you that know me know me. On the morning of November 12th, I witnessed ICE agents detaining 2 young adults. Because families are often left in the dark in these situations, I exercised my First Amendment rights to record the event from a safe distance on public property. I did not interfere. I simply documented the public activity of government officials. Shortly after leaving the scene, I was pulled over by an Ogden police officer. While the officer cited a minor traffic violation as the justification, he explicitly admitted the actual reason for the stop. The ICE agents I recorded were quoted, afraid of their safety, and had requested OPD intervention. This was also admitted by a statement provided in by the Ogden Police Department on social media, as it informed the community of 2 events that occurred the same day. The incident raises 3 urgent concerns for me, and I would think for many in the community as well. First, this contradicts previous assurances that OPD does not collaborate with ICE. If OPD conducts stops at the bequest of federal agents to identify or intimidate witnesses, that is collaboration. The officer that stopped me was very kind and warm. Nonetheless, I felt I was being intimidated. Second, this appears to be a retaliatory use of police power. Using a traffic stop to target a citizen for legally recording law enforcement is a violation of my civil rights and creating a chilling effect on transparency. Third, I'm deeply concerned that our city resources are being used to facilitate what appear to be racially profiled traffic stops by federal agents rather than focusing on local public safety. Therefore, I'm formally requesting that the mayor and our council direct the police chief to provide a public report clarifying OPD's policy on assisting federal agents who wish to detain or identify citizens engaged in First Amendment recording. Specifically, does Ogden Police policy allow for traffic stops to be initiated solely based on complaints from ICE agents regarding non-criminal filming? I would like to continue feeling safe and that I can exercise my First Amendment rights in trying to protect my fellow community members. Thank you for your time. Thank you.
Good evening, Ogden City Council. I'm Nick with the Ogden Strong Towns group. I've got some of my members in the back there. I'd like to thank Councilmember Dave Graff for giving us a shout out earlier and for bringing up what I was going to talk about during this public comments, which is a proposal to improve the safety of downtown and other highly walked areas by means of a leading pedestrian interval. Now, who knew what a leading pedestrian interval was more than 30 minutes ago? All right, perfect. So the concept is pretty simple. You turn on the walk sign 3 to 7 seconds before the cross traffic starts at an intersection to give the people crossing the street a head start. This increases safety for those crossing the street by increasing visibility, which is especially helpful for children, the elderly, and the disabled. We actually heard concerns about disabled people crossing the street earlier today. In fact, the Federal Highway Association has mentioned that they saw a 13% reduction in vehicle pedestrian collisions at intersections in their study. So as was also brought up today, the Wall Avenue improvements are coming in 5 to 10 years. And those will be great, but this is something we can do far sooner and on a much more widespread scale. In that same Federal Highway Association article, they mentioned that the cost for implementing LPI is very low when only signal timing alteration is required, which I'm not an infrastructure expert, but it seems like that could be the case. It's already been done in other cities, including Salt Lake City. You can go down there and try it out yourself. And the best places for this would be, on a small scale at least, in downtown and near OGX stations. Those would be a good start. So as for the call to action, you should really at least direct somebody to go talk to UDOT about doing this for all of our main roads, think Washington, Monroe, and Wall. As for the non-main roads, those grid roads in downtown, Adams, Grant, 23rd, 22nd, we can run small-scale experiments. You know, the advantage of it being cheap to implement is it's also pretty cheap to unimplement if we decide that it was a bad idea. So, to wrap this up, we shouldn't wait 3 to 5 years to do something or wait for someone else to do something about a problem when there's already a quick and cheap mitigation that we can do right now. And to do so is kind of to knowingly put people in danger. And that's all I've got for you. Thank you.
Thanks, Nick.
Thanks.
All right.
Hi, Kim Haslam, Ogden resident. I'm here as a resident of Ogden who's deeply concerned about the events that occurred last week involving ICE and the Ogden Police Department. In September, both Ogden City and the Ogden Police Department assured residents that our local police would not participate in immigration enforcement or work with ICE. So when residents, including myself, witnessed ICE working directly with Ogden officers last week, it created distrust. People relied on the city's assurance in good faith. After both incidents, OPD released statements attempting to explain what happened. However, these explanations did not align with what community members saw firsthand. They left more questions than answers, and they directly went against the city's previous commitments. So I'm here to ask about OPD's policies and seek clarification on whether or not they will be working with ICE. At the first incident, which I personally witnessed, there was one woman filming, and the two young people were detained without resistance. Yet we're told the ICE called OPD out of concern for their safety. My question is this: will OPD now be routinely attending ICE detainments in the name of officer safety? 2 hours after this incident, ICE and OPD were again working together at another traffic stop. The question I have about the second incident, where OPD called ICE because of uncertainty about an individual's documentation status, is this: is it OPD's practice to call ICE whenever they're suspicious of someone's documentation status? Our community deserves clarity. If OPD's policies have changed, the public should be informed. I would also like to know how the city plans to ensure that public statements match police practices moving forward. Thanks.
Thanks, Kim.
Laura Lewis, Ogden City resident. I was getting a little paranoid about that talk during the massage therapist because I go to one. So now I'm feeling like I might be on a list somewhere. And that makes me nervous because you never know where those lists are going to end up. So please look at this very carefully because I'm an innocent bystander in all of this. And my massage therapist is in a chiropractor's office. So it is a medical condition. And to me, it is, as you say, a violation of my HIPAA rights. So think about us too.
Thanks, Laura.
Linda Sanchez. I would also like to add that OPD has actually had problems with First Amendment recording. They're not very, let's just say when people do it, they're not as nice. And I understand they're kind of being put on the spot. But with that being said, we as citizens still demand that you be professional with us and that you don't take away our constitutional rights. Especially because we have the courage to exercise them, which not everybody does, and not everybody knows their rights. So people are being punished for exercising them. With that being said, I was a little worried about the massage situation because while I don't go to doctors that often, I try to stay healthy and do alternative medicine. Just because a doctor says, if you're just saying that just because a doctor is ordering it, that is not correct because that is not my health care. So shouldn't rely on if there's only a doctor that is prescribing that because I don't do traditional medicine. And so that in itself would be HIPAA for myself because I choose not to do healthcare the same way someone else might. With this being said, we're getting around the time where we're grateful and thankful. And I do want to express my my gratefulness that I got some of you guys to reply to me. I want to tell you, even though I do kind of get angry sometimes. I do love and appreciate every one of you. With that being said, I want to say I want to tell you how much I love and appreciate the service that you provide, even though sometimes you don't always get it. And I know sometimes not everybody thinks the same, and it's hard. But just know that you have people that you're looking out after, that do appreciate you taking the time to say, hey, let's just stop this and just think about it. And that's on different things, because not everything's like that. But just wanted to tell you thank you.
Thanks, Linda.
We can only hope.
We need to start some new rumors, right?
Yeah.
It's getting too quiet.
All right, let's go on. Let's go online to Hisato.
Hi, Heath Sato, Ogden resident. For starters, I wanted to thank Councilmember Ritchie again for running a great campaign and was cool and nice. And I enjoyed sitting beside him at every debate, and we had some great conversations. And I just want to thank him again for doing a great job. Got me by 148 votes, so I hope you'll recognize there are people in the area that also feel they might need to hear a little bit more from you. And I hate to do this on the heels of this, but I would like whoever created those graphs of the election to email me and let me know what they were thinking when they made all the other graphs start at 0, but our graph start at 1550, making it look like there was a giant gap when there was only a few percent between us. We were the closest race, and whoever made the graphs made it look like the biggest gap. And I don't know if that was a really dumb mistake or if somebody was trying to slight me, and I don't appreciate it at all. And that's personally, that's my issue. But I also want to point out that the massage parlor thing seems to be poorly thought out at this point. I think they really need to talk to the existing businesses before implementing this, especially since there's not that many of them. It's not like going to every single restaurant in town. And talk to them about that registration list, and those concerns have already been brought up, and I think have been spoken about pretty well. I agree with Flora on that. And I'm glad we're finally talking about planning for density, and that we're changing code and updating our zoning and all that. We saw this coming a long time ago, and I wish more had been done sooner, but here we are where we're at. Let's stay on top of it and do the best with what we've got now. Thanks. And one last thing. I did want to thank Bart and Marcia for all their work. I've always had pleasant interactions with both of them, and we've butted heads on things, but I have appreciated them on the council. So I hope you'll keep doing stuff for the community. I'm sure you will, and it'll just be in a different way. Thanks.
Thanks, Heath. All right. No one else online. No one else in the. All right. Let's talk a little bit about. I'll do a couple of the easier ones, and then I'll turn the time over to the mayor. Nick, thank you for being involved in he left, I think, actually. But Strong Towns is really important, and there's a lot going on around transportation, and there's some new innovative ideas, and so please stay involved with that. Laura, you disclosed way too much regarding HIPAA tonight, so thank you to know that. I'll keep that record close to me. But I think that was a good move tonight to at least look at that massage therapy ordinance again. And yeah, we can get, I think Tracy probably is the one that put those graphs together. I don't think it was anything, Heath, against you. I think she was just trying to show winners. But we can get those graphs to you. And with that, Mayor, I think you would probably be the best person to turn that to. I hate to hear that we have any issues with OPD and ICE, and I think that if you could address that, that would be great.
Thanks for asking, and I'm actually really glad you guys brought this up tonight. This is the first I'd heard of your part on this, so I'm not going to claim to know the details, and so I don't want to speak as though I do. So forgive me if I don't have all the answers. It's not an effort to not be transparent. It's just that I don't know, and I don't want to be wrong. So let me talk about our communications and what we are doing and what we're not doing. So we've been very clear that we do not have the authority to enforce immigration law. That remains the case. And that does not mean that we will never, ever coordinate with ICE. I'm saying things that I want to be really mindful, because people have a tendency to twist everyone's words around in this day and age right now. And that's part of why I've been really mindful about when I do and do not comment, because I can't possibly predict every circumstance that our officers are going to find themselves in. But what I do want our officers to know is that if another public safety officer, and I don't even know if the call comes in that an ICE agent is asking for support or backup, I think it's probably a law enforcement officer is asking for support. Now, recognize or put yourself in their circumstance that if another officer needs backup because they feel like they're in danger, I want our officers to be responsive to that. My guess is they probably don't know the dynamics that are happening in real time until they report on site and find out on their own. And so, but the reality that is happening in this day and age right now, especially in this issue, especially with the rhetoric and all of the things, there is so much, like what's going on in Portland and what's going on in Chicago. Like, it's not, I don't know why we're doing all of these things in these cities to create all of this theater to drive, whatever message in other cities, but those are not the things that are happening here. And we are finding that our officers are continually in impossible situations every day. They're humans. They care deeply about this city and about our people. They also care deeply about protecting the rights of our people. I just recorded a podcast episode today, and it'll air as soon as it's ready, with our deputy chief of police. And we talked really specifically about the remarks you made, Linda, about they are there to protect constitutional rights. And it is my directive and full expectation they follow the law and the Constitution in everything they do. There's no exceptions to that. But what if my understanding of the circumstance, and I think it's there were two different. So you were the one recording the first one, and I think my understanding is that our officer was either passing by or was called. Okay. Sorry, I'm not trying to create a back and forth. If we're called for service, we respond. And my understanding is we responded. I need to get more details as I'm not trying to minimize your circumstance. But what I am trying to say is that we have held true to the statements that we've made, and that our officers are continuing to find ourselves in situations that they don't quite know how to navigate. But in the circumstance where, in the second incident, where we pulled somebody over for a legitimate public safety issue of a crosswalk issue, putting kids and families at risk, and then having that person give a false identity, And then us not having the ability to confirm their identity, but to go back and then run that information that they provided, and for that information to come back with warrants. Then when confronted about those warrants, for that person to say, no, that's not actually my name. Here's my actual name. How are we supposed to respond when in the real identity, the reason they gave false information was to conceal that they had extraditable warrants related to drug offenses. Now, an extraditable warrant is pretty significant. It means that state, in this case Texas, wants that person in their custody for significant offenses or serious reasons. That's a big kind of trigger for our officers. And I'm asking our officers to go out there and protect public safety. But I don't know a better way for them to find out how to protect our people from somebody that's here and has a history of doing harm to others. I'm really thankful that that person's not in our community and on our streets right now. But that's very different from what I think a lot of people are assuming is that we're out, quote, cooperating with ICE and et cetera. I don't know how to answer every single circumstance, but to just say that we do not enforce immigration law, we don't have that authority. But we do enforce the law. We do enforce public safety in our city. And if that means that that means that our officers are going to continue to find themselves in challenging circumstances, and I want to make sure that they're responding when they're called upon. When they're called for calls of service, whether it's another officer or another person in the community, they need to be able to respond and find out what the facts are. And I'll find out more facts on your circumstance, Kay, so that I can speak with more clarity. But I want to just share really openly that if we're going to put Washington, D.C. politics on each other here, we're not going anywhere fast. We're really headed for dysfunction. And and I'm not saying that you're assuming anything about any of our people. I'm just talking more broadly. We have to give each other some grace and to recognize that we are all human trying to do what's best, and that there are a lot of good people trying to do the right things in every single interaction. Where we get it wrong, we'll deal with that. But it's really sad to see Washington, D.C. Politics being driven into cities and communities, including our own, more and more and more every day. It's making it really hard for us to be a community that cares deeply about one another. So it makes circumstances like what happened last week even more challenging. And but I just want to say that we lived up to the commitments and the statements that we've made, that we are not enforcing immigration law. We are enforcing public safety in our city. But anyway.
So can I just ask, I found the form online for a complaint. Is that the route someone would make or take if they needed to make a complaint formally?
Sure. On the
Ogden Police Department forms, there's a complaint page. I'm just curious what the process is if someone wanted to formally bring a complaint.
Sure. That's absolutely one venue. This was another. We'll follow up, certainly. Every complaint that's filed, we follow through on.
I just wouldn't give them the formal process since not everybody will be able to.
Yeah, thanks for that. I believe in the work that our officers are doing, and it doesn't mean that we're picking sides politically. We're trying to serve people to do the best we possibly can, but public safety is really important. And our officers are standing and protecting the constitutional rights of our citizens. And it's getting to be harder and harder for those officers because of the politicization. In that episode that I recorded today, we talked about the impact of politics on law enforcement across the country, and just how, when you get down to the facts, how apolitical police work really is. But it's getting harder and harder to remain apolitical in a hyper-politicized environment. So I don't know if I did a very good job of explaining that, hasn't it? It just speaks to the challenging circumstances we're in, and I don't know.
So, Mayor, I have I think it would be great if there would be some communication with Azanet to find out,
Gladly.
That would be great. And then I think the other piece of that is, and I don't know what the communication back is to ICE, but I think that there needs to be some sort of communication from cities back to ICE in order to say, this is happening, and it's happening, because we are in a chaos situation. And I don't think that that's really fair to us as a city, us as residents. And I think if there was a way, I know that the National League of Cities is here this week. I think that would be a great comment to bring up to others across the country to really start to push back against what we're having as far as ICE coming into our cities. And so I don't know if there is a way to do that, but that would be maybe another start. Instead of continuing to try to fix the Band-Aid here, let's go upstream and start to really have those conversations upstream. That would help. I know that doesn't help your situation, but
and a little bit
maybe
more,
we can help the next person.
a little bit more locally. I want to acknowledge that I understand. I can't imagine being a police officer, period. You're asked to walk into unknown circumstances with every single radio call that you answer, and you aren't going to get it right every single time. But it's my hope that as a result of a learned experience, so if this officer followed the direction of ICE to pursue this woman and pull her over for lack of use of a blinker at the direction of ICE, I think that's a mistake. I think that officer should have kindly and respectfully declined that invitation or that directive coming from an ICE agent. And if it was, and I think a blinker is a bogus thing to pull somebody over for. I think it's an excuse. And I hope that we all as a city and our police department as a whole can learn from this experience and say, no, let's brainstorm some other circumstances that might come up that look like this that we are just going to say no to. I think that our citizens all deserve that. All the people that live here deserve that.
And again, I don't know the circumstances of the incident that took place, but what I'm not going to do is jump to conclusions about what ICE did or didn't do and what our officers did or didn't do and took direction from, etc. That just doesn't sound correct to me.
Yeah, and I was careful to use the words if.
I know.
Yeah, thank you, Mayor.
I noticed that. No, thank you.
No, and I just want to, agree too. I choose the side of trusting our public safety officers to do the right thing in the moment, because I have depended on them many times. But I just want to publicly apologize to ASNet and for other people, if they've been impacted in this way. I think that it takes a tremendous amount of bravery to come up here and walk up. And that's the only reason I asked about a complaint form or another way for people to contact us, because not everyone is going to feel comfortable to come up and make this kind of statement in front of us. And I also think that we need to have it be more public and open what is happening in our community. And it doesn't mean it's right or wrong. It's just we need to be transparent. So I agree that we have to exercise our First Amendment rights and make it apparent what's happening. And I fear, much as we've talked about before, not only the resources being expended, from our department on this side, but that they are going to be caught in the middle, and then maybe something horrible will happen. I just see other things escalating other places, so that's my fear too. So I think transparency is the best policy, and making sure people know the right channels for where they can take their concerns and complaints, just so that then it doesn't feel like there's a roadblock or, I have to go to this public meeting, or I have to know a council member, or, just those kinds of things. I think that's, really important, because I don't want people in our community to be afraid in their own neighborhood when they're just trying to help support their neighbors. I've had phone calls, I mentioned it before, where people are like, there's an unmarked, van on the corner and they're pulling people over. And, I helped walk through that. But I think people are on edge and they're very worried and scared. And I just would hate for something terrible to happen to anybody in that situation. So
let's talk about transparency for a second, because there's no secrets in this. I don't know of any other industry that every day I go to work and everything that I do, for every single interaction I have a 4K camera recording every single interaction.
Yeah, and I'm not
that's just the reality for our officers. That's hard. That's just the reality, and that's fine. That's good. So there's plenty of opportunities for transparency. and we're not going to misrepresent something that happened, and we're trying not to communicate what we will or will not do when we don't always know every circumstance our officers are going to find themselves in. But imagine being that officer and you're thinking, I've got somebody in front of me that has lied to me about their identity for a reason. And
yeah, I'm not talking about that incident.
I know, but just this challenging of the circumstances in the moment. They lied to me about their identity. The identity they did give me came back with warrants. Then they gave me a different identity. I can't find any evidence of that person in existence. But there's something, this person is clearly not, there's some danger here. And they're forced with the decision to say, do I find out who this is to make sure that I'm not putting people at risk by letting them go? Or do I, or do I find out who it is so I can make sure and have certainty for our people? Like, what if they found out that that person left and they didn't want to have an uncomfortable circumstance or political optics, etc., and they put people at risk as a result? You know what I mean? Those are difficult situations for officers to be in. And I've just directed them, we're going to follow the law and we're going to do good police work and we're going to do it transparently and consistent with the Constitution of the United States of America, period. And I'm doing my best to keep them apolitical, because apolitical police work is what leads to the best possible police work. And that's largely why we have a really strong culture in our department right now. It starts with compensation, then it builds on culture. But if you let officers work in an apolitical environment, they make a promise to me every single time I swear them in. And I make a promise back. I say, I will not politicize you. And in return, you promise to me that you will follow the law and follow the Constitution. And that's what we're trying to do. Anyway, we are working in very challenging times. All of us are.
I just also find it hard to believe that a trained ICE officer needs another police officer to back them up. It would seem that they would have enough people to do that themselves. But
I don't know.
I could be wrong.
I don't know the circumstances enough to speak accurately or clearly, but and I'm sorry, I'm not being very clear. I'm just trying we're trying to get through this, and I'm trying to make sure that our department is in a good position. I know, but I'm kind of more apologizing to Azanet that I'm trying really hard to do the right thing for everybody here, and including for our officers, because I do think that people in the city care deeply for them too. I think there's a strong sense of support in this community for our officers, that they do really, really tremendous work. And we've seen more and more support for the work that they're doing, because we're attracting a higher and higher caliber of officer every single day, because we're building a culture that allows them to be their best and to find fulfillment in their work. So anyway, you have my commitment. I will get with my chief. We'll find out more about your circumstance. Can I get your contact info? I don't know that I have it before I leave. Okay. Thanks.
Thank you for coming forward. That had to be hard, so thank you. Comments from the mayor? Any more comments from the mayor?
No, I just again apologize. I'm not feeling very well. If you can tell from my throat, I've just been sitting up here feeling like I'm starting to drag down. I've been up since 2 a.m. and I don't feel like I'm thinking very clearly or speaking very well. So I'm sorry for that. I'll leave it at that. We've had a long night.
Thank you. Comments from council members?
Chair?
Yes.
Chair White, you and I had the privilege of attending a Ogden Weber Legislative Affairs Committee meeting in October. And in that meeting, we saw the priorities that the Northern Utah Chamber of Commerce has for transportation. And it came to our attention that the 24th Street interchange was not anywhere on their priority list for funding as a request from Northern Utah, the Chamber Coalition. And that was a concern for me, because they are a powerful political group to try to assist Northern Utah funding for transportation projects and other projects. So I just bring that to the administration's attention, because I know that's a high priority for us, especially coming into the Olympic time, we're hoping that that 24th Street interchange can be a very viable main gateway into our city. And don't know if there's been any other interaction with the state, with UDOT or anyone else in trying to coordinate that effort to try to increase our visibility on that funding pole, or if we need to make some interaction with the Northern Utah Chamber Coalition to bring that to their attention. If you want to add anything, please do. You were there. And but it seemed to me to be kind of a critical issue that concerned me a lot.
So I'll tell you what I've done as far as a follow-up.
Please.
Yeah. I was able to reach out to my colleagues at WFRC to try to find out the funding, the phasing. I've reached out to Kent Anderson, who runs the transportation group at Northern Utah Chamber Coalition. And I've reached out to UDOT with Rob White and trying to find out if we do need to put that back on that list. So that is in play. It sounds like they're looking at a different
alignment,
folding diamond.
No, yeah, it's. I'm the spewy versus an on and off type single point on and off. That's a diamond. Yes, thank you. So I've asked him if that needs additional funding, and I haven't had a response from him yet today. So I have been working on that just to make sure that it does get back on if we need it to get back onto. I spoke with you, Mayor, about that as well, and so that's where we're at. I don't. You're right. They are pretty powerful in their advocacy or legislative advocacy.
So the hope is that we would have that the 24th Street interchange would remain on the nukes list. There is some discussion as to whether it should be on the priority request list for this upcoming year. Here's the circumstance and the challenge. 24th Street was funded and it's planned for. The tens of millions of dollars, hundreds of millions of dollars it's going to cost to build it. When it was funded by the legislature, so much time has passed that the cost has continued to escalate with like everything else. And so it started off with one design, some single diamond, double diamond, triple dip, who knows what.
Like skiing.
And then then UDOT along with Ogden City made the decision that we need to pursue the single point user interface, which is the ultimate goal and that is like the best possible plan for the facility itself. Then they reopened the environmental process, which put another year of public process in to gather and to go through environmental clearance. Then that added another year of inflationary pressure on the cost, which now UDOT's coming back and saying we are short in funds to be able to fund the single point user interface. So now we want to reconsider the design again. And it's like, oh my gosh, back and forth, back and forth. And so if the design is being reconsidered, and I believe that it is, I don't think any final decision has been made, however, between what the design will ultimately be. I think we prefer the SPUI, single point user interface, because it's the best possible solution. But if that's another $80 million, and that's a lot of money, those are the conversations our staff are having with UDOT and with Rob White. On the political front, we need to make sure that, and I know that the 24th Street is still in the funding mix. It is. In terms of the Northern Utah Chamber Coalition, that's the Northern Utah Chambers that come together under one umbrella to advocate and lobby for Northern Utah priorities. There is discussion that we should pull that off in terms of this year's funding cycle specifically, to allow for the design process to go through. Is there anything I'm missing that would be more up to date? Okay. So that's what we're working on with our legislative reps and UDOT, and appreciate Chair White's help at Wasatch Front Regional Council as well.
And our legislators are actively involved in this conversation.
Right. Yep. Is that helpful?
Yeah. No. And okay. I think that the other part of that is that it is funded up until I think it's funded to the point of the diamond, and it's just not fully funded to the other.
Right. It's not fully funded for
so
the
I don't know that it even has to be on there. I think they're already moving that part down. So But I think we need to push for the bigger project.
Which is what we did.
I know.
So we're clear to do that from the environmental standpoint, but the budget is not there at the state level.
Those are important things.
I would just add that, we may take it off this year's priority level with Nuke, but try to keep it up high on there in the event that there is additional funding and we can make that next list. I think that's totally
agree.
Priority.
Yep.
Yeah, they are such a great advocacy group for Northern Utah. And if you're higher on the list for next year's priorities, then chances are very high that it could get funded. That's my hope. That's my observation too. Thank you.
Any other comments? All right, thanks. All right.
Motion to adjourn the regular city council meeting.
Second.
We have a motion by Councilmember Graff, second by Councilmember Chaburka to adjourn this meeting. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? All right, we have one more quick meeting, so don't be jamming out here very fast.
Where's everybody going?
Yeah.
The Special Redevelopment Agency meeting of November 18th, 2025. Please note that all board members are present. First on our agenda is the approval of minutes from the closed session of February 18th, special meeting of July 18th, or July 15th, and the closed session of September 16th. Board Member Graff.
That's me?
Yeah.
Okay, yes, I have reviewed those minutes and found them to be accurate to the best of my recollection.
Fantastic. In the regular meeting and closed session of August 19th, Board Member Blair.
Yes, thank you. I have reviewed those minutes and found them to be correct, and I would make a motion that we approve the listed minutes.
And I'll second.
We have a motion by Board Member Blair, second by Board Member Graff to adopt the minutes. This is a voice vote. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? All right, next on the agenda is reports from administration. It's the MU Zone Master Plan for 768 West 24th Street.
Okay, so there were actually three parts of the project we looked at. There was the zone change, the code text amendment, and this is the third part, is the master plan. It's the same project you looked at on 24th and F. And the reason it's coming to you is because the code says if it's in a redevelopment area, then it requires the redevelopment agency to approve the master plan for the project. So honestly, we're kind of ticking off a box here. It just happens to be in the track line plan. They're not asking for funding for the plan. It's just we're meeting the requirements of the code. So this is the plan you've seen before. The goal of the track line is created to facilitate the attraction of new commercial and manufacturing businesses to the otherwise blighted area known as the Ogden Stockyards. And this would attract new businesses there. And there is the master plan for this area. This is in a phase 2 that says there are no specific projects currently proposed for phase 2 at this time. So this would be the master plan. And it's our recommendation that you approve the resolution approving the project master plan for the mixed use area.
Great. Are there any questions for Barton? All right.
No questions, but I'd make a motion if you're ready.
Well, nope, we have to receive input first.
Oh, we have input on this one? Okay.
Not quite sure why.
All right.
Anybody want to talk about that?
A little bit of that.
All right.
Anybody online?
Let me look. Nobody left online.
I would make a motion then that we would approve proposed resolution 2025-15.
Second.
I have a motion by Board Member Ritchie, second by Board Member Myers to approve the proposed resolution 2025-15. This is a roll call vote.
Board Member Blair.
Aye.
Board Member Chaburka.
Aye.
Board Member Graff.
Aye.
Board Member Myers.
Aye.
Board Member Ritchie.
Aye.
Vice Chair Heyer.
Aye.
Chair White.
Aye, that passes. All right. Well, that one was faster. Comments from the Executive Director? Or his proxy? Comments from board members? All right, I just have a comment. Thank you for all your hard work and open comments. That was, although late night, it's always delightful to hear everybody. So with that, I have, anybody?
Motion to adjourn.
All right, motion to adjourn.
Second.
Oh, Jesus.
Sorry,
We have a
Angela.
motion
That's okay, you're too
by
fast.
Board Member Ritchie, second by Vice Chair Heyer to adjourn. This is a voice vote. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? All right.
Thank you, Chair White.